Good morning. This is the Newswire. I'm Edwin Lisamira. President William Ruto's nominee for the Inspector General of Police has admitted that security officers were overwhelmed when protesters stormed Parliament. Douglas Kanja told a joint parliamentary vetting panel on Thursday that the huge number of protesters overran the police officers deployed in the city. He, however, said that police are not allowed to use excessive force when handling protests, contrary to what the country witnessed during the recent anti-government protests.
The management of demonstrations, Public Order Act guides on matters demonstration. If there is excessive use of force by an officer, we have the oversight bodies, we have IPOA, we have the ODPP. And even now, as you speak, I know there are several investigations that are ongoing in relation to what happened during the demonstrations. There's a clear demonstration that any use of excessive force cannot be around.
If confirmed, he replaced Japhet Koome, who resigned last month. The UDA Founders Association has condemned former Secretary General Cleophas Malala and called for his immediate disciplinary action following a controversial statement he made regarding his status within the party. In a statement, the association dismissed Malala's recent claims of still holding the Secretary General position as outrageous. They said Malala's actions were part of a broader scheme to undermine the party from within and reiterated their unwavering support for the recent leadership changes within the party, particularly the appointment of Hassan Omar as the interim Secretary General. This comes after Malala accused UDA chairperson Cecily Mbarire and National Assembly Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah of plotting his ouster.
That this coup was plotted and orchestrated by two senior party officials alongside others within the party secretariat. These senior officials are Mrs. Cecil Mbarire and Mr. Kimani Ichung'wah, MP for Kikuyu constituency. That my ouster by the above officials had nothing to do with incompetence or my inability to run the UDA party, but was a well-choreographed script intended to climax with the impeachment of the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua.
Malala further claimed that he still holds the Secretary General position.
And to clear my name from possible speculations regarding my legal removal, I have served diligently and obediently as Secretary General for the UDA party since I assumed office, popularized the party across the country, and grew the party by more than 3 million new members. I cannot, therefore, exit because of an illegal decision made by a handful of malicious party officials who are scared of my achievements at the party.
Earlier this month, the UDA party's National Executive Committee convened and revoked Malala's appointment as acting Secretary General despite a court order stopping the meeting that was chaired by Mbarire. Former President Uhuru Kenyatta is expected to convene an Azimio affiliate parties meeting to address the crisis that has hit the opposition following the appointment of 4 ODM leaders to the cabinet. This comes even as some of the affiliate parties, including NAK Kenya and DAP Kenya, have announced plans to exit the coalition. On Thursday, Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka admitted there were challenges in the opposition coalition but downplayed the situation, saying it's part of democracy.
Hivi karibuni hata chairperson wa Azimio Summit ambaye ni mheshimiwa ambaye amestaafu Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, nadhani ataitisha kikao ili tujadiliane mambo haya kiwaziwazi.
Uhuru is the chairman of the Azimio Council, the coalition's highest decision-making organ. Ukraine has set up a military administrative office in Russia's western Kursk region, where its surprise incursion into Russian territory continues, according to its top military commander. General Alexander Sirski says the office would maintain law and order and meet the immediate needs of the population in the area. In a video posted on social media, General Sirski is seen telling a meeting chaired by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky that the office has been created on the territories controlled by Ukraine. That's the Newswire. I'm Edwin Lisamira.
.5 Spice FM, Kisumu. This is the Situation Room, the home.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
If we just gloss over issues and hope that time heals, then we may find that in generations to come, we might be back at the same situation. And the whole thing is born of stolen elections.
Spice.
To die. Our politicians do not like the hard stuff. We must insist on the path of doing things right, whether popular or unpopular.
Money changes hands. That is a fact. If you have political goodwill at the highest top, passing laws and amending laws, and nothing will happen.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Thank you very much, Eric, and it's good to be at the Situation Room.
Always a pleasure coming here. This is the most challenging interview panel in Kenya. You guys are very well informed, and as you can see, Charles today, very philosophical.
To be poor in this country is the greatest sin you can commit, not just from a legal perspective, but from life generally. Yeah. It is very, very skewed.
We've just heard on the floor of Parliament, just most recently, a leader within the ODM saying that Sisi ni ng'ombe is a baba.
Yeah.
Which means that you are willing to be milked dry.
You cannot force me to believe. I'll give way. If it's land that I'm told to return to you, I will, okay? Because the court has said so. But I'll continue saying, watu wamenirusha. That's all that I'm doing.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Revenge is for children. It's for kids. When you grow up, you realize the best revenge you can take on somebody is to ignore them.
Now, I'm just new in politics. It is not everybody's cup of tea. That's why some people come in one term and that's it for them.
Political parties in this country do not have ideologies, whether luring or otherwise.
And that is the effect of corruption.
Any time an offense occurs anywhere in the country, it is the job of the Inspector General to look into it. Whether it's corruption, whether it's murder, whether it's betting, that is his job.
If we have chosen to be a corrupt nation, then we produce corrupt leaders. Everything then becomes chaotic that you cannot be able to change a nation.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Hakuna traffic mle. Hakuna trafiki. Mambo bado iko sawa kwenye barabara. Hamna trafiki. Let's see how it will be looking like, by the way, in about half an hour. So right now, all the roads heading towards town and heading out of town are looking A-okay. But that's what we're seeing on the map. Maybe what you're seeing, the situation on the ground is a bit different. So tag us on X at SpiceFM KE.
This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latin, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room. the only way to start your day.
It is, isn't it? And thank you very much for choosing this as the way to start your day. Mambo namna gani? Welcome to Friday. It's the 16th day of August 2024. Baramuga, how you doing?
Mimi niko sawa baba. Naweje?
Niko fiti. Kofia umeivaa?
Yes.
Bas.
Tangazo.
Bas.
Tangazo.
Watu wajipange.
Liwe liwalo.
Watu wajipange. This one has happened like this.
Ijumaa.
Are they ready?
Ujamaa imewadia baba.
They are not prepared.
No.
They will not believe.
Watajua tu.
They will not believe.
Yes. Yaenda ikawa sio.
If you plan to be anywhere, and then city happens to also have plans to be in the same place, my friend, you will not believe.
Sauri yako.
You will not believe. Hey. So, Ndu is battling that thing in the throat again.
Yes.
The frog.
Yep.
Got there and stuck. So, take a long weekend.
It is good rest. I'm informed very medicinal. Kama inapumzika na kunywa maji mingi.
Na nyamaza.
Wewe nakula dawa na pana ongea na watu.
Just keep quiet. Just shut up.
Ingilia sign language.
Yeah, just shut up, okay? Just don't talk. Don't talk. Just keep quiet. Just be quiet. All right. Hiya. So, welcome to the show. Let me tell you what we shall be discussing. At 7 a.m., we'll be joined by Dr. Robert Floyd. He's the Executive Secretary for Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty Organization. That's CTBTO. He's been here before. And these are the guys who make sure that the world is not developing any more nuclear weapons. That's it. Do not develop any more nuclear weapons. Make sure that all those countries that have signed and said, we are not doing this, we are not even testing nuclear weapons, let's all remain this way. Their job is to test, to monitor, to see that this doesn't happen. He's in the country and he'll be joining us at 7 a.m. to talk about implementing a comprehensive nuclear test ban treaty. That is the conversation we shall have with him at that time, at 8 a.m. So the government has taken up this job of going to different countries, finding the labor needs of those countries and saying, actually, we have skilled labor back at home. But what we want is an agreement between our government of Kenya and this government of whatever country that if Kenyans are coming to work here, these are the conditions. Number one, how much are they getting paid? Number two, are they getting proper leave days? Are they getting medical cover? Do they have return tickets back home when they want to come back home annual holidays? And so on and so forth. So, we'll be joined by the Principal Secretary for Diaspora Affairs, Roslyn Kathure Njogu, who will come and tell us why the government is securing formal jobs abroad for Kenyans. This is a touchy one because, as you know, one of the things that the Gen Z protesters have been saying is we do not want to be shipped to work abroad. We want to work at home. There are many arguments to and for and against this particular push. But then the PS will join us at 8 a.m. and we'll discuss that. And then at 9, we have seen the Gen Zs, Anguka Nayo. And sort of a song that has absolutely nothing to do with governance and all.
Nope.
It becomes like
a national anthem.
The ringtone for the protests. Completely, And there are very many other such songs that have been there over time. It just happens that this song is there at that time and becomes a song.
I am unbogable.
Oh,
yes.
Completely. The song by Gidigidi Majimaji in 2001
yes,
had absolutely nothing to do with politics.
Nope.
But it just coincided with that move to say we are getting into an election in 2002 and it became the song. Even others like Mambo ya Badilika, it's a gospel song, but is it NASA campaign that was using that as, Taona Mambo ya Kibadilika. What is this? But then there are some songs that have actually been released specifically to agitate for change. Okay. I know musician Calligraph Jones has released a song during this time of Maandamano, that's talking about the number of years that we've had, independence and the development in the country. All right. Sauti Sol had a song, tujiangalie, tuko pabaya leo kuliko jana, sikio la kufa halisikii dawa, tuko kwa Twitter tunajibizana. Okay, so we'll be joined by Eric Wainaina. Everybody knows Eric Wainaina. He's a singer, he's a songwriter, he's a producer. He's somebody who's been involved in writing songs. And he'll also be here with Norbert Mburu, who is a culture research lead at Odipodev, mapping protest songs in Kenya since independence. Songs that were written specifically for protest, not those that they just landed on happy accident. And what's the difference between those two, right? So Eric actually has a new song, and he'll be releasing it on the show at 9 a.m. today. So you don't want to miss that, okay? Eric will come, he will perform, he'll unleash a new protest song, and we'll hear. It's not Inchi ya Kitu Kidogo.
Apana.
It's a new one.
It's brand new.
Brand new.
Brand
new.
Yes.
Yeah. We are live streaming the show as we always do on the digital platforms, on YouTube, on Facebook, on X, on Radio Garden. If you're online, particularly on Facebook and YouTube or X, say hello and say hello to everybody else. And we shall be acknowledging your presence shortly. First, the weather forecast.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. The weather with SpiceFM.
Partly cloudy conditions in Nairobi, 15 degrees. Kakamega, partly cloudy at 17. The same we would say at Eldoret City, 12 degrees and cloudy. Mombasa City, partly cloudy at 22. Malindi, cloudy at 23. Kisumu City, mostly clear at 18. Nakuru City, partly cloudy at 13. Nyeri Town, mostly cloudy at 15. Kampala, Uganda, partly cloudy at 18. Kinshasa, cloudy at 23. Johannesburg, clear skies at 10. Dar es Salaam, partly cloudy at 23. Addis Ababa, mostly cloudy at 14. Same partly sunny in Mogadishu at 25. Lagos, cloudy at 25. Beijing, sunny at 29. Paris, cloudy at 18. London, cloudy at 20. Clear skies in New York at 25.
Your intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Watuni Wengi, and thank you very much for choosing this as a way to start your day. Bernard Okello says, good morning from Doha. It's a happy Friday. Uko, Doha, mahali wako. He also says, Bernard, that Malala decided to burn the whole house. Burn the whole school with all certificates. Did you hear what Malala said? Mm-hmm. Malala is the former Secretary General of UDA.
Yes.
Okay. He was ousted in the wee hours of the morning one day. So he's come out and made serious allegations. Says the party chairman, Cecily Mbarire, and who else? And somebody else are behind his woes. Okay. Says they orchestrated my ouster because, and Kimani Ichung'wah, yes. Kimani Ichung'wah, Cecily Mbarire are the reason I'm in the cold right now. But it's part of a bigger plot. Bigger plot.
He was in the cold before he became Secretary General. Who was responsible for that particular cold stint?
That one was, in the run-up to, he was waiting for this one to come to the warmth. Now, the party chair, ameleta mambo yake. Anyway, Cecilia Ongweni says, ask the PS for me about brain drain versus labor export. Her take. Thank you. Okay. Irene Orimo says, are these the same jobs that we were procuring to the U.S. heartland, a.k.a. the most racist corners of the U.S.? But also acknowledges that Irene Orimo acknowledges that Eric Wainaina will be here. Back in the day, Eric Wainaina was her crush. Back in the day. We're about to revive that crush, Irene. Wewe ngoja uone.
Bana mambo ya crash nini bana?
Sijui bana mimi.
Crash ni crash landing.
Mimi sijui bana.
Crash take off.
Mimi sijui bana.
Unajua tu crash.
Mimi najua tu crash bana.
Okay. Ili crash na A ama crash na U.
Kesh Danny says, good morning from Olkejuado to Metenga, Baridi this morning, and we will launch the sun later on. Sawa, mmetenga pesa ngapi ya jua? Unajua jua haiwezi kuja tu hivyo. Unajua watu walipiga kelele ikaangusha finance bill.
Hiyo hesabu sio?
Ndio watu walipiga kelele. Nilikuwa nimepanga kuongeza jua 2.
Sasa aliweka order ya 2.
Sasa lakini mkaja finance bill, mkaangusha finance bill, sasa hakuna pesa. Sasa ndio maana uko na baridi namna hii.
So in fact instead of jua sasa tunapatia mwezi.
Kama nyinyi mnasema namna gani? Si wale wangapi wanataka jua tuone. Haya ndio hao. George Okoth, good morning my peeps. Looking forward to a great enlightenment from the amazing trio watching you from Miami. And George says good morning to you too. Edna anasema usalimiwe sana. James Mureithi, Robert Bogo, Karo Nyambura, Don Sabwa, kila mtu ambaye yuko online, we thank you very much for joining us today. Karibuni City. Final day of Proverbs from
the Central African Republic. You know, when you're thinking of and mentioning songs, there's a song that always chimes in my head when we talk songs. Uvivu ni adui mkubwa kwa ujenzi wa taifa.
Kwani hilo jizi sasa kisababisha chonja. Ewe ndugu yangu amka kumekucha.
Ndio hiyo.
Kamata jembe na panga.
Uende shamba.
Uvivu ndio adui ya ujenzi wa taifa. Jiepushe na uvivu. Tujenge taifa. Ndugu yangu kumekucha.
You know that one? It was a nice song, man.
Kabisa?
Kabisa. Right. The final proverb for the day.
Okay.
Final proverb from the Central African Republic.
Alright.
Final proverb for the week. And for the time being, this is the final country that we're going to be looking at, which is landlocked. Yes.
Why? But why?
All right, I'll add one more. One more. When a wealthy leader runs out of words, money does the talking.
When a wealthy leader runs out of words, money does the talking.
Yes.
Okay.
This one is not complicated.
What about when that wealthy leader then runs out of money?
Let's put it this way. He runs out of leadership. The words and the money, those the fuel that ensures that he stays in leadership. Words go dry, belly up, money comes in. Money goes dry, belly up.
Leadership goes. Leadership goes.
It's not complicated. It is like that.
Why? Okay.
Yes.
In the papers this morning, Gen Z, utatuletea nation kama imefika. Siniona. Tutambia Gen Z angalie kama nation ile imefika ile nation ile. But I've got screenshots of it. I'll tell you what's in the paper. Kenyans get a raw deal on fuel prices. That's the big one in the Standard this morning. Motorists are paying up to 21 bob per litre of fuel in what is now illegal taxes, as the government continues to defy court orders that struck out both the Finance Act 2023, which had doubled VAT to 16%, and a raise in road maintenance levy by 7 shillings. Both illegal. Okay? Now, when the prices were reviewed on the 14th, they still had this one. They had an increase in road maintenance levy, and they still maintained VAT at 16%, which should have gone back to 8%. That's the status quo before Finance Act 2023. Higher. There's a man called Douglas Kanja. Douglas Kanja wants to be the new IG of police. And he was before Parliament yesterday, and he was talking about why Parliament fell to Gen Z demos. Police were overwhelmed and resources overstretched during the July 25th demos where protesters breached Parliament. IG nominee Douglas Kanja tells MPs where? WHO's global red alert on new lethal Mpox type. The health body declares disease as outbreak an international public health emergency after a surge in at least 13 countries as new variant is found to be more lethal and spreading fast. Guy, we shall look at that story. Okay. Eldoret is no longer just a town. Eldoret is a city. Eldoret City is a city of champions. They got their proper charter to become a city yesterday. There was an event presided over by President William Ruto, and there's a photo here of President Ruto handing over the Eldoret City flag to Municipal Council Chairman Julius Kitur after the town's elevation to city status yesterday. Looking on was Singishu Governor Jonathan B. Kotimoja and other officials. And then there's a photo here, beautiful photo of two gold medal winning Olympiads, Faith Kipyegon and Beatrice Chebet, when they arrived in style in the city of champions. Beautiful ladies here, beautiful brimming smiles, and coming in with a championship. Championship. Uko na star?
Hapana.
Hauna star?
Pana iko nyota. Yeah, pana iko.
Wamekuzimia nyota yako.
Bwana.
Barathuli hawa. Barathuli.
However,
you have there?
Iko ile online ile.
Online.
Okay. Who will save Kenya from Kemsa?
Guy.
Mwadhani. Audit unearths rot. Cancer drugs donated to KNH were diverted to a private hospital in a rip-off, exposing the heartlessness of people in the ministry of God Almighty.
Health.
Bwana we. Right. Malala. Same story. Two Mount Kenya big guns plotted my ouster.
Okay.
Kick the can down the roads. Mulwa. This is the KEMSA story. KEMSA has initiated robust change at all levels. Okay. Well, Mulwa, you're right on track. The government has also initiated robust changes for the economy. So do not worry. You're in tandem with the development goals. Okay? Same story as the one, police overwhelmed by IG nominee and so forth. Why move to SHA is important, authority boss says. President Ruto concerned with numbers of athletes. You know something?
Concerned with?
Well, this is a story on sports, yeah? And they're saying the president of the country is concerned with the number of athletes, and then it ends there because...
Number of athletes?
No, actually, no. It's the number of athletes who have problems which appear not to be solved when they should. Unitary support. Okay. Sports fund, he said, was there to take care of the needs of people. Lakini inaonekana iko shida.
Wamegula.
Yes. And the reason is because of this failure that you find many of our athletes being poached by other countries. This is the concern the president has. But I think the president needs to consider that the export promotion problem he has for human resource is on course. It's broad-based.
Kabisa?
Yes. Not only do you have technocrats, we also have athletes. So, we're exporting everybody.
Kabisa.
Some of the negative elements in society should also be exported. Kuna watu labda wana wahalifu wa kutosha. Si tuko nao.
Tuwauzie.
Tuwapatie tu bwana. Wajua wakifika kule, they'll find a niche where they can fit in.
There's a People Daily there, and you'll tell us what's on the headline of the People Daily. But let me tell you what's on the front page of the Daily Nation. Shutdown looms in schools and universities. My good Lord. And this is the big one in the nation today. Candidates sitting national exams would be hard hit should teachers' unions go ahead with their planned strike next term to push for higher pay and promotions, among other grievances. University lecturers have also joined the fray in a move that would disrupt learning in the country. And they have a photo here of Mr. Akelo Misori, who is the Secretary General of the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers. We are advising parents that starting August 26th, the strike will proceed. We are telling our teachers to stay away from school. So when schools are due to reopen, Kupet is telling the teachers, do not open nothing. Stay there. What are the grievances? Number one, failure to implement Phase 2 of the 2021-2025 CBA. Number 2, promotion of 130,000 teachers who have stagnated in the same job groups. Number 3, teachers' medical cover. TSC hasn't paid insurance partners. Number 4, non-remittance of loans and NSSF deductions. Number 5, commitment to negotiate a new CBA with more allowances. Number 6, conversion of JSS teachers to permanent status and employment of more. Number 7, management of activity funds. Number 8, delayed and inadequate disbursement of capitation funds. Higher, Those are just teachers. Lecturers, on the other hand, have their own grievances. Number 1, persistent salary delays. Number 2, part payment of salaries. They're saying, hapana, mwezi kututreat hivi. I have some word of advice to TSC. Identify the ones that are leading this strike and send them home.
Send them on leave.
Send them on leave. Just find out who are the ringleaders of this university strike and the teacher strike. Take their names down. Send them on leave. That's how we deal with delinquents. Gachagua allies now challenge Uhuru and Ruto deal with Raila. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua and his allies want former President Uhuru Kenyatta to come clean on reports linking him to opposition leader Raila Odinga's foot soldiers joining the government. This comes less than 2 weeks after Gachagua declared that he and Uhuru are working on uniting Mount Kenya and strategizing the region's future in the 2027 general election. Higher. There's a story here about land. Taxpayers lose 8.2 million shillings daily due to stoppage of works at Mwache Dam. Kenya yetu hii ya Kiamu. Business Daily. Banks post record 140 billion shilling profit on costly loans. Commercial banks pre-tax profit rose 16.1% to 139.6 billion in the half year ended June, marking a record performance in an environment of costlier credit that has increased loan defaults and reduced appetite for borrowing. So remember the other day there was a story about, the number of defaults has actually increased.
Yes.
And the amount of personal loans being taken and even business loans being taken has dropped.
Yes.
But banks have made record profit.
They are, aren't they just? And you know why? Guess why? Well,
Serikal.
It was Serikal. And these record profits also signal something else. It indicates that the government is paying whatever it is that they owe the banks in interest. But remember, there was a little movement out of this norm when Standard Chartered pulled away from buying government paper. And the questions were asked why. Okay? So one wonders, banks are making profit off the back of the government. So when you're talking about pending bills, 18%, is it 16%? Is it 15%?
18% for the last infrastructure bond.
Yes, exactly. Now, what does that mean? It
and
means
also the bills are at 16.
Yes, does that mean therefore that money that might otherwise have been lent to enterprises, to industry, to commerce,
is going to
has it shrunk? Because if I were a bank, this is better business. But beware, we have the story of Ghana that we should never forget.
Yep.
Because one day something went tumble-turn, and before you knew it, whatever you thought was an investment suddenly became a net loss.
Can you imagine?
Oh, yes.
And global rating agencies have already signaled, and they have, because they've said so. Kenya has been downgraded on the risk of defaulting.
Yes, we have.
Banks that actually hold a lot of these credits for government are also in the red.
It means, yes, if government has a problem, all these banks will have a problem. And not a small problem. But this money being lent, yes, it may be bank money, but also people's money, other people's money. Yes. One should be very careful.
Kamsa.
Yes.
Then also, for very many years, we've been talking about, the big exports from Kenya being tea, coffee.
Yes.
And then we went into floriculture, flowers.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And then we went into avocado.
Yes.
Now, guess what? Fruits have leapfrogged coffee in export earnings. Kenya's export earnings from fruits have overtaken those from coffee for the first time, according to official data. Is an avocado a fruit?
Yes.
That's okay. So it's avocados.
Yes.
Over.
Just ask a simple question. Ile fruit ambao unasema ndio inatengeneza juice.
Bas.
Okay.
Kama avocado inatengeneza juice. Basi ni fruit. Bas.
Someone tell you lakini there's cabbage juice kama wacha mchezo
na carrot.
Those things are supposed to be eaten. This thing of you drinking carrot juice sasa ni yako.
Carrot juice. Na okra water.
All right, in that case, is sugar can a fruit?
Bas, iko na juice.
Iko na juice,
Uhuru achokozwa, that's a headline in the Taifa Leo. Give us the headline in the People Daily.
People daily. I forget this advert. Kanja. Gen Zs taught us lesson. Brave man, this one. Brave man.
Oh, Kaja.
Yeah, very brave.
Kaja.
Said we were overwhelmed. Hiya.
He was the boss for the National Police Service anyway.
Yes. Police chief admits officers were overwhelmed by brave young Kenyans who stormed parliament to protest against state opulence and punitive taxes. Simple, straightforward. Thank you, brother Douglas Kanja. Yes, ukweli ni muhimu sana kwa ujenzi wa taifa. Shakahola witnesses recount sex abuse. This is on page 5 of the story. Win for Kenyans after court stopped road levy. The story of the levy is not just the value and the cost. These stories underlie the one thing. It underpins the complaint that Kenyans have. We don't know where our money goes. It's not so. It goes where we don't want it to go, and we don't see the development it's intended for. That's the problem. Yeah, it's collected. We agree, but we don't see the benefits of those collections. That is why these things are a pain. Because if these monies were used for what they were intended, some of these burdens and pains would actually not be there.
What?
Beautiful, the pride of a nation. This is a picture of the president. President William Ruto received the Olympic champions flag from Team Kenya captain Faith Kipyegon at the Eldoret State Lodge yesterday. This was well done. Hii ni muhimu. This one, President, hapo dole.
Kabisa.
No, dole. We never fed our athletes adequately. We don't recognize them adequately. State commendation. Mazi yanguke kama mvua.
Proper, sindio?
Yanguke.
Kabisa.
Watu wapewe.
Kabisa.
Yes.
23 minutes to 7. Let's take a look at traffic.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to...
What? My head is aching, shoulders paining, and it's like I'm adding weight very fast.
Now, by the way, see, I thought you are...
Nilifikiri umefanya ile kitu. No, I know what you are thinking. I'm not pregnant. Not now.
Now, when you haven't heard about Aga Khan Hospital, they have a wellness program.
Aga Khan University Hospital has made medical checkups more available through their subsidized wellness package at 9,950 for a comprehensive medical checkup. Don't wait for a health scare. Do your health check at the Aga Khan University Hospital clinics in your neighborhood today. Get your vitals checked today. Call 0111 011 888 for more information.
Still looking okay this Friday morning. So North Airport Road is fine. It's moving. Uhuru Highway coming all the way to the city's Nairobi. See, Nairobi Nyayo Stadium roundabout is okay. And then from there, Uhuru Highway is looking okay into town. How's it looking like? Langata Road is fine. Gong Road is fine. Jogoo Road is only busy at Makadara, that you know, and also gets busy. And this is the Makadara at the junction with Nyasa Road. And then after that, it moves. When you get to City Stadium roundabout, you'll find a bit of traffic, and then you'll get into traffic. In fact, Landis Road, for the first time in a very long time, is clear. Only business area is along the Wakulima Market. Hapo ndio iko sheda kubwa. Ngara coming towards town, that's Ngara Road, is busy for some reason. Thika Superhighway is actually very clear. Only gets in traffic at the underpass in Pangani. Thereafter, barabara iko sawa bwana.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Yes. Mambo ni mingi, sinio?
Kabisa.
Kwa gazeti, mambo ni mingi. Let's look at this one there. The headline in the Standard today, which is talking about Kenyans getting a raw deal. Okay? So, IPRA ignores court order on fuel and keeps prices high. The price of fuel ought to retail at a minimum of 168 bob for super and 151 for diesel if the government obeyed court orders. While releasing the prices for the August 14th to September 15th, August 14th to September 14th, the Energy Regulatory Authority said the prices will remain at the current pump rates of 188 for super and 171 for diesel. But what the story is saying, but that should have dropped to 168 from 188. The Court of Appeal in July, in the case of National Assembly and another versus Okiya Omtata Okoiti and 55 others, declared the entire Finance Act of 2023 unconstitutional. It is this bill that pushed the VAT rate of fuel from 8% to 16%. A reversal of the same should have been reflected on the new rates. In a separate case, the Mombasa High Court yesterday declared the recent increase of the road fuel levy from 18 to 25 unconstitutional. This rate too is still factored in the cost of fuel for the next 1 month. However, instead of abiding by the decisions of the court, the government announced it will continue subsidizing petroleum pump prices over the next 1 month. This move, they said, saw the retail price remain unchanged in the latest maximum petroleum pump prices published by EPRA on Wednesday. Digging into public offers for stabilizing fuel prices is despite the government's continued push for higher taxes from fuel. In the prices published by EPRA this week, the regulator had retained VAT at 16%, despite the Court of Appeal judgment. So, this is the thing. The case in Mombasa the judgment just came out yesterday declaring the road maintenance levy unconstitutional. Okay? Yesterday was the 15th. It was a day after EPRA had made its announcement. But on 14th, when EPRA was making its announcement, there was clarity that there's a court order that says, not order, judgment that declared the Finance Act of 2023 illegal.
Unconstitutional.
And unconstitutional. That means that we should have reverted to 8% VAT.
Yes.
EPRA is retaining that at 16% VAT.
Lovely, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that a path we should follow?
No, it isn't.
I agree with you, we shouldn't. And what reasons? Perhaps let's ask EPRA. EPRA, why is it that you've retained the 16%? There's a reason, I'm sure.
You know, even when last year, when Okiya Mtata went to court, the first thing that he sought was, first of all, stay orders.
Yes.
Do not increase this, okay? Because as the case is proceeding, the government went and argued against the stay orders later. But initially, when the stay order was released, EPRA still moved ahead with 16%.
And the stay order had actually been put in place. So again, they disobeyed court orders.
EPRA claimed, we had not been served. By the time we were releasing this thing, the order had not actually arrived at our desk. We had not been officially communicated to by the Attorney General or anybody else that there is an existing court decision. Okay? So now, this time, between July 30th and August 14th, if that decision has not been communicated to EPRA, then somebody has dropped the ball and that somebody should go to jail.
Yes. What are the consequences of disobeying a court order?
See, jail, straight, punishment.
Precisely.
You go punishment.
That's contempt of court.
Contempt, direct. And this is actually this is not even an injunction, a stay order. This is a judgment. It's final. Until an appeal sets it aside in a higher court. This was a Court of Appeal decision that said, yes, we do agree with the 55 that Finance Act of 2023 was unconstitutional. Didn't pass the muster of public participation. So now EPRA has done this. So now, no?
Actually, it's a trend that one needs to observe carefully because it started in the Uhuru era. Court makes its pronouncement, makes a judgment, and the highest office in the land decides to ignore it. When you ignore a court order, you're actually disobeying it. So then what does one do? Under those circumstances, what does one do?
That's the thing. That's the thing. It's clear. It's breaking the rule of law. Now, yesterday's decision in Mombasa was actually interesting, all right? A Mombasa court temporarily halted the government's plan to increase the fuel maintenance levy from 18 to 25 bob, with Justice Gregory Mutai issuing the order effectively reducing the fuel levy by 7 bob pending the hearing of this particular case. So the judge deemed the notice of motion urgent and directed that it be heard before presiding judge Olga Sewe on dates. So this was just temporary halt, do not increase. This, you could say that then the government could go to before the judge, Olga Sewe, and say, you know what, if we halt this thing right now, we'll be affecting very many things. Let it continue until and as if. But the one on VAT, it's final.
There is nothing more to be said on the matter.
As we sit here today, the VAT Act of 2023 is unconstitutional. Out of the door. Everything else that was contained in that VAT Act, not in the Finance Act, forget it. Get it out.
Yes, that seems to be clear, but the one entity doesn't seem to be clear too. Happens to be our esteemed government.
Yeah.
Yes, for them it is not clear. Yes.
Which story do you want to tell us?
Well, I am looking at very many stories here. There's one that caught my attention, and it is actually in the
People Daily.
The People Daily. Right, let me just find it. Yes, the Mpox. Mpox declared global public health emergency. The World Health Organization declared Wednesday Mpox a public health emergency of international concern, sounding the alarm over potential for further international transmission. Today, the emergency committee met and advised me that, in its view, the situation constitutes a public health emergency of international concern. I have accepted that advice. WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus told a press conference in Geneva. This is the highest level of alarm under international health law, Tedros said. This is something that should concern us all. The potential for further spread within Africa and beyond is very worrying. Yes.
That thing is quite a big thing, right?
It is a very big thing.
It is a very, very big issue.
It's a very big, worrying issue. Yes.
Now, what are the things, the signs that we should be looking out for?
This is something that we need to look at and perhaps talk about, okay? Because this particular article does not deal with it. But when you look at the Standard, they also have that same story. I am going to look at it and tell you, yes. Now, let me explain. According to the Standard, what WHO declaration means. It means that it's a global public health emergency. The public will be required to report suspected cases with quarantine and a measure set in place. According to Professor Julius Oyugi, Director of Research, University of Nairobi Institute of Tropical and Infectious Diseases, WHO will also provide guidelines to nations on how to deal with the disease, which is now portable. The guidelines include which public health prevention measures, diagnostic methods, and treatments of the disease. Additionally, countries shall be required to set up emergency response measures. Individuals who suspect to have contracted the disease should seek health interventions in hospitals for investigations and prevent the spread. Now, all these stories here do not tell you of what it is that you will be seeing. They are telling you the measures that you need to take, what you need to go do, how you need to go about it. That's all they do. Yes.
Okay. I think the PS for Health, Mary Muthoni, had indicated that she'd be available to come next week. To come and now just educate people. What is this? And what is it that the government is doing? And what should we be looking out for?
Yes.
Yeah. It's an important one. This one is important. Kabsa. The Director of Public Prosecutions, Benson Ngonga, has applied for the arrest of an Equity Bank manager being sought over the theft of 1.5 billion shillings from the lender. Through prosecuting counsel, Ngonga told Milimani Senior Principal Magistrate Geoffrey Onsarigo that David Mushiri Kimani had jumped bail. Onsarigo heard that Mr. Kimani, a manager at the Equity Bank Group Processing Center, escaped after he was freed on a police bond after recording a statement. The theft was allegedly effected through 47 transactions. Preliminary investigations from the lender's internal control department established that the credentials of David Mushiri Kimani, a manager at the salary processing unit, were used to process the transactions of 1.5 billion shillings, the prosecution told Onsarigo. The revelation of the theft of the lender's cash came to the fore when police renewed their plea to be allowed to detain Mr. Kimani for 21 days. CBK Fraud Investigations Unit had obtained orders on July 12th to detain Kimani for a period of 21 days for interrogation over the theft from the country's second largest bank with a customer base of over 14 million people. From the preliminary investigations, it has since been established that the monies were wired from the bank to various accounts in different banks. The DPP told the court that the receiving accounts were of businesses that were newly registered. Investigations have made it more evident that these new businesses were registered for the sole purpose of receiving the fraudulently obtained funds. Onsarigo was further informed that the theft amounts to economic sabotage of Equity Bank as a financial service provider, exposing local, international and government entities at risk of loss. The investigators told the court that they are undertaking further offences of money laundering, contrary to Section 3B, read with Section 3.4 of POCAMLA, that's the Process of Crime and Anti-Money Laundering Act, stealing by servant, contrary to the Penal Code. The bank reported the crime through a letter dated July 11th, signed by Kevin Mwangi, the bank's head of security. While filing that complaint, Mwangi said that all the transactions in the theft lacked corresponding credits from the source entities or individuals, thus raising suspicion. However, a battery of advocates who are defending the suspect, led by Jiron Degwa, urged Onsarigo to order the DPP through Acting Inspector General of Police Gilbert Masengeli and the DCI to produce Kimani in court, claiming he was arrested and whisked away by police. So the lawyers came here with the you remember Black Bull Degwajiro.
I remember him.
They said, you know what? The police, Your Honor, should bring that suspect here, our client. They are the ones who arrested him. We have not seen him. DPP is saying the police released this guy, and he has jumped bail. On a personal bond, they released him.
It means that's what the DPP was informed.
Yes.
Yes.
He was supposed to come back. He has not come back. So we want you to give us an arrest warrant so that we can look for him and arrest him. The lawyers are saying, but you arrested him. You should produce him in court. Now the drama starts.
And yet, if we go by what we read yesterday, men in plain clothes, clad and carrying heavy weaponry, okay? Raided the house. His wife also seems to have been abducted. His father was apparently also arrested. Yes, now we hear a twist. The DPP is saying he should be arrested. Yet, from the reports that we read yesterday, they had been arrested. So, did we hear a report that he had been released? We're hearing it now.
The police have not confirmed that they have done that. Yapo ndio shida iko.
Yapo ndio shida iko
kubwa. Nasikia hiyo? Hapo ndio maneno iko.
This one needs clarification, man, because we are told on the one hand he was arrested. Now the DPP is telling us he needs to be arrested. And the lawyers are saying he was arrested, produce him. So which is which? Where are we with this matter?
Bas. Let me take you to this place called Kwale County. Okay? Taxpayers are losing 8.2 million shillings in penalties every day due to delays by the National Land Commission in compensating families that have ceded land for the construction of a 20 billion shilling Mwache multipurpose dam. Parliament has been informed. The National Assembly Committee on Blue Economy, Water and Irrigation was told that the contractor building the Kwale County-based dam is billing the government 8.2 million shillings every day following stoppage of the work after protests by property owners a month and a half ago. Irrigation PS Ephantus Kimodo told MPs that the delay by the Commission in resolving the dispute by compensating the project affected persons is occasioning losses to the government and delaying completion of the time-bound project. We paid 509 million shillings of the 1.38 billion to NLC required for land compensation in this financial year in May, but the Commission only started the payments this month. The payment only started after landowners demonstrated and stopped the contractor from progressing with work. The Commission is holding 237.9 million shillings for 150 project-affected people. The money could not be paid because of several reasons, including land disputes and lack of land documents. Residents of Kinango stopped the construction of the dam last month, demanding compensation for the land that they surrendered. The committee, which met the PS, representatives of the National Treasury and the National Land Commission, was informed that payments had started hitting accounts of the affected families, but work on the project has not resumed. Okay? Dam project. Okay. Multi-purpose, big dam. Okay. For this dam to be the big multi-purpose thing, we need land. Okay? Now, the people who own the land that is near this dam, what do they need? They need compensation so that they can move.
Yes.
There's acquisition. All that is sorted. Money is even set aside in a budget. 230 million shillings already allocated and wired to the National Land Commission. National Land Commission has not moved with speed to resolve the issue. However, as all these things are happening, the government has already issued a contract to a contractor and told the contractor go on site and start work.
And these matters have not been resolved.
They haven't been resolved. So contractor has already mobilized. They have brought in their machinery, they have brought in their personnel, and they are paying salaries and they're incurring costs. So what the contractor is doing is every day that I am not working, because it's not out of my non-performance, I bill you 8.2 million shillings every day. 8.2 million. Every day that the government, that this contractor is not working, because people came and demonstrated and ordered me to stop working because I'm fearing for the safety of my personnel and the well-being of my equipment and all, I am not going to work. I'll charge you for it. National Land Commission has not resolved the issue. So they have all been summoned by Parliament. They're answering questions. Meanwhile, yesterday as we're talking to parliamentarians, 8.2 million shilling bill. Today, by the end of the day, 8.2 million shillings. Tomorrow,
daily,
8.2 million shillings.
Why does this thing look contrived to me? You haven't resolved the matter of compensation. How then do you encroach the land? How then do you begin the business? Because the alternative would be, what's the thinking here?
And NLC is saying, well, one of the reasons why we are not actually going fast enough in compensating is because some of these landowners don't even have their land documents, ownership documents.
But therein lies a bit of a conundrum, isn't it?
Yes.
Because if someone doesn't have the documents, does it mean they don't own the land? What if you went to an entire area and nobody has a title deed, and yet people live there and they've been living there for eons and eons? What do you do then?
It's not the first time that NLC has dealt with this kind of matters.
Precisely. When we're building the railway, are we telling me all those people whose land was traversed when the railway was being built, all those people had the documentation for the land that they owned? No, the answer is no. They did not.
Even at Dongokundu bypass.
Yes.
All those fisherfolk who are being compensated.
Yes, how are they being compensated?
How did you identify who is a genuine fisherman and who is not?
Eric, what about the Lamu port? The landing ports that the fishermen used, they were compensated. What exactly? You cannot tell me that beach, that waterfront had a title deed in other people's names. No. How are they compensated?
NLC has been in existence for over 10 years.
Yes.
They must have come across this kind of matters before.
It's not the first time.
Right? And if indeed, then they were not done with it, then you also ask the question to the other side. These guys at the Ministry of Mining and Blue Economy, why did you advertise the contract? Why did you award the contract before you had sorted out
You didn't need
issues?
to. Yeah. One would have assumed that you would have done due diligence and understood what it is that you are dealing with here.
Make sure that first you have the land.
Yes.
And then now you bring the contractor.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But no. News time, 7 a.m.
Spice up your life.
Good morning. This is the Newswire. I'm Edwin Lisamira. A petition has been filed challenging the appointment of Wycliffe Oparanya as Cooperatives and MSME's Development Cabinet Secretary. The petitioner, Frederick Mulla, wants the court to declare Oparanya's appointment illegal and revoke the Director of Public Prosecution order to review Oparanya's case days before his nomination. Mulla has sued the ODPP and the Attorney General, who are listed as the first and second respondents respectively. Oparanya is listed as the first interested party, while the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission is the second interested party. The petitioner accuses the DPP of usurping powers of the ESCC in dropping the charges against Oparanya, among them conflict of interest, abuse of office, money laundering and conspiracy to commit an offence of corruption. As a crisis deepens in the Azimio coalition following the appointment of 4 ODM leaders to the cabinet, former President Uhuru Kenyatta is expected to convene an Azimio affiliate parties meeting to address it. This comes even as some of the affiliate parties, including NAK Kenya and DAP Kenya, have announced plans to exit the coalition. On Thursday, Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka admitted there were challenges in the opposition coalition, but downplayed the situation, saying it's not unusual for political parties to have divergent views.
Hivi karibuni hata chairperson wa Azimio Summit ambaye ni mheshimiwa ambaye amestaafu Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, nadhani ataitisha kikao ili tujadiliane mambo haya kiwaziwazi.
Kalonzo further said that although questions still linger on modalities that led to incorporating the ODM senior members in government without a proper coalition agreement, Raila Odinga remains the coalition's leader.
You see, we must continue to engage with Raila Odinga. He is, as we speak, the leader of Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition. There's no way we will not engage with him, and so that is to be expected until we come to a decision on whether to release him to go completely to African Union. Because the idea is to form a coalition that will not only drive Kenya Kwanza home mapema, but I'm quite sure if we're in this country today, if there was an election, there would be no Kenya Kwanza.
The reigning Miss Universe, Shanice Palacios, has arrived in the country ahead of the Miss Universe Kenya 2024 Grand Finals in Nairobi. Her plane touched down at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport last night. This marks the first time in the history of beauty pageantry that a reigning Miss Universe is visiting the country. It's also the first time a Miss Universe Kenya will be crowned by the reigning queen. Palacios' visit is highly anticipated as both a boost for the beauty pageantry industry in the country and for tourism.
Hello, Kenya. I feel so happy, so excited to be here. I'm so happy too for the coronation day to meet the new delegate to Kenya for the 73rd edition and Miss Universe going to be in Mexico. We're so happy to be here. Thank you to having us and make us feel like home.
A new round of Gaza ceasefire talks was underway in the Qatari capital Doha on Thursday afternoon, officials said, with Israel's spy chief joining his US and Egyptian counterparts and Qatari's prime minister for the closed-door meeting. The talks began as Gaza health officials reported separately that the death toll in the Palestinian enclave had surpassed 40,000 people, a threshold reached after more than 10 months of fighting. The round of negotiations, an effort to end the bloodshed in Gaza and bring 115 Israel and foreign hostages home, were put together as Iran appeared on the point of retaliating against Israel following the assassination of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran on July the 31st. That's the Newswire. I'm Edwin Lisamira.
SpiceFM, Nakuru.
If a lion shows you its teeth, it doesn't mean it likes you.
It doesn't mean it likes you. It won't start. A liar calls as witness one who is either dead or far away. Say it in Kiswahili.
Ben low, nin inte, nin there, ayu markati kadikta. You know this character called liar. He has disturbed people. So when you tell him, who are your witnesses, he will take you to a place where it is difficult to verify.
For someone like me who sweats a lot, I cannot survive there. Sweating is biblical. Good. And you must blame it on Adam, not me, because Adam messed up and he was told, "Now you fellow, you, by the sweat of your brow, thou shalt eat."
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
What's happening on the roads this Friday morning? Not much. Well, the Thika Superhighway, it's starting to stretch, but it's actually still looking okay. Landis Road is looking good going into town. Jogoo Road is one that's busy because there's something happening at the City Stadium roundabout heading into towards town, but we don't know what it is. But just be patient. So when you get to around Church Army heading towards town, you'll find that traffic. Just observe it. Be patient. Uhuru Highway heading in towards town is okay. Only at the Railways Bridge and then into Haile Selassie roundabout will you find a bit of traffic. Westlands coming towards town is fine. Ngong Road heading towards town is okay. Langata Road towards town is fine. How is North Airport Road heading towards town? It's still looking okay. Only issue is just near the Southfield Mall and heading towards the City Cabanas interchange. It's the rest of the roads are fine. Let's see how they'll be looking like in about half an hour.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latin, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
It's 7 minutes after 7. How are you doing? Welcome to Friday. If you're just waking up, karibu sana. If you're just on the road, well, you're doing well. You're up early. It's good that you have decided to choose SpiceFM to be where you start your early morning, whether it's on SpiceFM, whether you're following this show on TV, on radio, on YouTube, on Facebook, on X, wherever you are. We thank you very much for doing that. Now, this weekend, the English Premier League begins. And, there'll be very many people who will be following up, what's happening in the English Premier League. In fact, even the newspapers today are looking at the season and looking at what's likely to happen in the season, new signings for the various clubs. What are those signings likely to have an impact on? There are various other big stars who have exited the English Premier League clubs. So all this is going to be some conversations that will be happening throughout the season, beginning this weekend. So, if you want to follow this and you're not near a screen, or even if you're near a screen, but you just don't like those commentators there, you want to hear our own commentators. We have our very own, very good commentators. They will be commentating the English Premier League matches on SpiceFM, on Radio Maisha, on Berur FM. So, just tune into SpiceFM, okay? You'll hear all the matches. Live action, plus the analysis, plus opening up the phone lines and also the feedback mechanism, so you can also participate. So that's a good thing.
It's a very good thing.
Because those commentators, Kina Jim Beglin and the others, they don't give you that chance to tell them what do you think. Ours will give you a chance to tell them what do you think. Okay? Yeah. So our next conversation for this hour is going to be about nuclear power, nuclear test ban. And we are joined by Dr. Robert Floyd. He has been here before. He's the Executive Secretary of the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty Organization. And he's come accompanied by Magdalene Wangoi Wanyaga. She's a geoscientist and she does very many things in the country. Good morning, Magdalene.
Good morning.
You well?
Very well.
Magdalene is a geoscientist, City. What is that? She'll tell us.
Hey, why are you asking me such difficult questions
She'll
early in the
tell us.
morning, Eric?
Dr. Floyd, how are you?
I'm very well. It's great to see you again.
Welcome back.
Thank you. It's
Where
good
were
to be
you?
in Kenya.
Down south?
I have been down south.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now you're up here.
Yeah, indeed.
Welcome to the equator. The side of the equator. City will welcome you with the day's proverb, which he'll tell you about. But before that, I've got a message, and this is a message on the importance of doing regular health checkups. I'm sure Dr. Floyd will agree that it's important that you constantly, regularly go for the health checkups, right? And you can tell Magdalene why. Tell her. Why is it important to go for regular health checkups? Just go to a health facility and say, I want to do a health checkup. Why?
Well, going to a health checkup is incredibly important because specialists then have some idea to pick up signs of problems that may be emerging in the future. And male health is of particular concern because men don't think they have any problems.
Do we?
Of course.
It's a small issues. That's what men think, right? Yeah. So, Magdalene, you know the Aga Khan University Hospital, don't you?
Yes.
And you know that they have the main facility on Limuru Road, and then they also have other centers in neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And you know there's one close to your neighborhood.
Mhm.
So with only 9,950, you can walk into the Aga Khan University facility near you and tell them, I've come for a comprehensive health checkup.
Awesome.
They will do it. Take all the men that you know, tell them. Dr. Floyd says, men health. You think you know, you don't know.
Your family has men.
Yeah.
Those ones. Take them.
Take them.
Definitely.
Tell them go. Okay? All right, City, the day's proverb.
This is the final proverb for this week. It's the final proverb from the Central African Republic. We've been mining proverbs from landlocked countries of Africa. We have been asking all our guests to mention at least one landlocked country in Africa. As you can look at the roof if you wish, but you will still tell me one landlocked country in Africa.
Uganda.
You are fortunate. We normally tell them no Uganda, no Rwanda, no Burundi. But Uganda is a landlocked country. Dr. Floyd.
Zambia.
Very good. Zambia is a landlocked country. Well, this is good. We had people who earmarked South Africa as a landlocked country. When a wealthy leader runs out of words, money does the talking.
When a wealthy leader runs out of words, money starts talking.
But we asked the question, okay, what happens
when the money
runs out?
Well, what's your interpretation of this proverb, Dr. Floyd?
I think it's quite concerning.
How so?
I like to hear the words of leaders, that they can cast a vision and that they can draw others with them, and to turn from words and engaging in the issues to merely money is a concern to me.
Magdalene?
Well, I agree with Dr. Floyd. When money comes in the picture, then I think we lose most of the pertinent issues. So, yeah.
So what do you think the proverb is saying? Isn't it interesting that the proverb doesn't mention action?
That's the beauty of proverbs. They actually allow you to figure
So
it out.
the leader is basically the Central African Republic leaders people are used to getting words from their leaders.
Yes.
Not action.
No.
And then when the words fail, money. Not action.
No.
It's quite interesting, this one.
It is actually very interesting because what the proverbs do in reality is they point you to the prevailing social norms of that particular community and what it is and how it is they view other things that other people interact with in other communities. You see, like many proverbs from this continent will have animals. Yes. You will hear, like earlier on, we talked about elephants not limping when they step on thorns. Yes. If I lived in Europe, it's very unlikely that a European country will have a proverb with an elephant in it. Yes. Because it's not something that they interact with any form of regularity. But when we ask for interpretation, the truth is, you actually can't be wrong with the interpretation. You listen to the proverb, and it's how you relate to it. And that's it. And that cannot possibly be wrong.
Yep.
Yes.
It's as simple as that.
Yes.
You could, however, be wrong if you actually told us something that is not true about the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty Organization. You are the executive secretary. There are people who have never heard of this organization. What is it, Dr. Floyd?
The Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty Organization, or as we like to call it, the CTBTO, is an organization set up under a treaty that 187 countries of the world have signed on to ban nuclear testing everywhere in the earth, under the earth, in the oceans, in the air, for all time. And the CTBTO is the organisation to help implement that ban. And the big thing that we do, Eric, is that we have a global monitoring system of 337 sensor stations that pick up data, pick up information from around the world that can tell all the nations of the world whether any country has tested a nuclear weapon. And that system works amazingly well. We've got really smart technical people in our organisation that can set up sensors that can detect vibrations in the Earth's crust and analyse that data and be able to say that was a nuclear explosion, or it was just an earthquake, or it was a chemical explosion in a mine. But they can tell the difference.
And you know this for sure.
And we know this for sure.
But
and so no country in the world could test a nuclear weapon and be able to deny it.
The only reason that you can sit here today and tell us that your guys are so good is because they've actually detected it, isn't it?
Eric, you're absolutely right. They've detected it.
So there are countries that are still testing nuclear weapons.
This is an amazing point, is that the treaty was open for signature in September of 1996, and Kenya, very soon after that, they signed it. So right up front. But before that date, September 1996, 24th, over 2,000 nuclear tests took place, right? But since that date, over 25 years ago now, about 10 tests only have taken place. This century, 6, all by one country, and that is North Korea. But every one of those tests, including this first one, which was very small, some wonder whether the first test in North Korea failed and didn't work properly. We don't know. But it was very small, but our system picked it up. So yes, we know it works. And it doesn't matter. We don't have to focus on the test site in North Korea. We actually focus on the whole planet. And our system is constantly looking at the data to see if there's any evidence of a nuclear explosion anywhere.
I'm curious, why do people want to test whatever nuclear facility, whatever nuclear object they have? Why test it?
I'm glad you asked, because we need to separate two things. A nuclear power plant is not a nuclear explosion.
No.
And so it's a controlled environment to be able to harness nuclear energy to generate electricity. And that is perfectly legitimate and an appropriate right and an opportunity for any state to consider. That's not what we're looking for. But a nuclear explosion is the test of a nuclear warhead. There's only one reason that a state needs to make a nuclear explosion. It's because they want to make a nuclear warhead. They want to develop those devices that could be in the front of missiles or could be in gravity bombs that are dropped from planes that would explode with such power that would annihilate more people in an instant than ever before.
Why are they testing it?
They need to know that the really smart physics required to set up a nuclear explosion would actually work in the way that they intend it to work when the military commander wants it to work. So any country that might think, oh, we will develop a nuclear warhead, they would never be able to convince their military to use it if it had never been used and tested. So testing is an essential step from a concept of physics into a terrible, terrible item of warfare.
Okay. But tests are conducted in controlled environments.
A nuclear test, a test of a warhead, is not necessarily a controlled environment. It is a situation where there would be a detonation of a device so they can then see how much yield, how much power comes out of that device.
But it's controlled. They're not dropping it to a population. They're not dropping it to their own military. It's not a war. So it's controlled. They decide, so we want to test this and we want to make sure that, okay, first of all, it doesn't kill our people. It doesn't kill our soldiers. So they are controlling it, isn't it?
In that sense, Eric, it's in a testing environment. In the case of North Korea, the 6 nuclear tests were all underground. In the early days, a lot of tests were not underground. They were atmospheric, or they were in the ocean, or they were just on the surface. And when those tests took place, there was a release of a huge amount of radioactivity, and that would have terrible effects on human health and the environment in and around those areas. In fact, the radioactivity, the traces of that can be found even around the whole world. You can date materials by whether those particular isotopes that were generated by nuclear explosions are present or not. And you know then it is 1945 or later, just by that. But that, now when you put that device underground, Eric, as you're alluding to, then the release of the radioactivity is greatly diminished. So it is not a human health and an environmental impact so much that takes place.
Okay.
What it is then is the devastating power of a weapon that really should never be used because it is so indiscriminate.
When a nuclear device is detonated, when it explodes, what does it release? Beyond the explosion, what else? What is this harmful substance that it releases?
There are a range of radioactive isotopes that are released, but there is nuclear energy that is released which directly impacts the people. In the context of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the 2 locations where nuclear weapons have been used on human populations, the devastation on the people there is just tragic.
And it's something that lasts over time.
There's an immediate effect. There was a huge amount of heat with the explosion in Hiroshima. I've visited their memorial museum at the site there, and the pictures of people with their skin just dragging off them, and that is from the heat. But there also is a huge burst of radioactivity. And so many people, many kilometres away, had a massive exposure to radioactivity. That impacts their health way off into the future, and even to a generation beyond.
Is that not of greater concern then when there are tests being done underground? Are we saying that the Earth is able to absorb radioactive material to the point where it will not affect us at some point in the future? Near future, middle level future, distant future?
The reason we focus on tests is that if we can ban testing, then we can stop any nation developing nuclear weapons, because it would be best that no nations had nuclear weapons. So it is not that we are directly concerned about the emission of radioactivity from that explosion of a test. We're concerned about the weapons that then are developed and ultimately could be used. That is the greater concern, rather than the emission of radiation and radioactive isotopes from a test. So it is putting in place a stop to the spread of nuclear weapon technology or the development of new types of nuclear weapons that may be even more devastating than those before. So it's a good point you're focusing on. It is not the test which is a concern from a human health point of view. It is to stop the development and the spread of a whole set of weapons the world would do really well to be without.
So what does the treaty mandate the CTBTO to do? So once you detect that a certain nuclear test has taken place somewhere, then what?
The treaty is a ban on an agreement by all of the countries that they will not test anywhere that they have control over that territory, that they would not test, or they would not test anywhere else. So the countries, the 187 countries, have agreed to a ban on testing. Our job is to mainly to be able to verify that countries are sticking to their commitment. That's great, you can have words, as you said in your proverb of the day, but one of the things we say is we should trust but verify. Okay? I don't think that's a proverb, but I think it's a very important principle, and that we do like to trust but also verify. And so the CTBTO sets up this amazing monitoring system, of which there are 2 stations here in Kenya, and that monitoring system gives the confidence to all of the countries of the world as to whether there are tests taking place or not.
Okay.
So that is our role, is to build that verification system. If there was a test, Eric, then I'm sure the UN Security Council would take a very keen interest.
So you report to the UN Security Council, or you report to the member states?
I have addressed the UN Security Council twice now. On the first occasion that I addressed the UN Security Council, I was accompanied by a young African woman. She was a geoscientist from Kenya. Probably one of the youngest people to ever address the Security Council in its existence. And I'm so honoured that she is with us here today.
Allah. Miss Magdalene Wangui Wanyaka?
Yes.
You're the one?
I am.
That he's referring to?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So first then, we'll come back to the questions to Dr. Floyd. What's a geoscientist?
A geoscientist is someone who deals, I normally put it in the simplest way, from the surface of the earth going down. So anything that happens in there, be it water, be it earthquakes, be it minerals, be it constructions of buildings, we work in very many, our science is applied in very, very many areas.
So from the surface down?
Yeah.
Subterranean expert.
How far down? Where do you start?
From the surface, and we can
Just
go all the way
digging
to
up
the
to
core.
to
Not
plant
really
a tree.
Digging up. No, but we have technologies like seismology, for example, that we can be able to image the earth and see what's going on. We can use other technologies such as gravity methods, magnetic methods, just to kind of the same way they take an MRI of your body or of your brain.
Yeah.
Ideally, that's what we do.
So you take an MRI
of the earth.
Of the earth, constantly, to see how it is doing. What's your day like? So you're, okay, so
yes.
Do you have a
up.
place? Do you report to work? What do you do?
What I do...
I know, now you've told us what you studied.
Yes.
Now, what do you do?
I am a project manager at a consultancy firm in Kenya called Sandros. So my day job is to manage projects, basically, in spheres of energy, climate change, sustainable cities, and the environment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you been to any of the CTBTO's what do you call monitoring
stations?
Yes, the 2 in Kenya, and I have also visited, I think, 2 or 1 in Kazakhstan. Yeah.
Where?
At Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan is that country up there.
You could even Afghanistan.
Your area. Kyrgyzstan.
Yes.
Turkmenistan.
It's one of the stands.
and Kazakhstan. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Floyd has just told us about this time. He has been to the UN Security Council twice. One of those instances, you were there alongside him. What was that about?
I was briefing the UN Security Council during the CTBT's 25th anniversary, and I was talking with regard to the treaty, the youth, and the uses that the way we can advance the CTBT beyond nuclear weapon testing monitoring to the civil and scientific applications.
Really?
Yes.
But their mandate is to deal with nuclear test ban. In fact, it's in the name, the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty. Now, when you start introducing other aspects of it, are you not derailing them from their core mandate?
No, we are not derailing them. Actually, we are benefiting from them. So the IMS system, or the International Monitoring System, collects the data. This data for the CTBTO, it's definitely to monitor whether nuclear weapon tests are being conducted. But for scientists and people in other spheres, we can then utilize this data for the civil or scientific applications.
Okay. Are we going to a break, Eric?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll ask the question after the break.
Okay, so let's take the break then. 29 minutes to 8 a.m. We're having a conversation this morning about nuclear test ban and the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty Organization, CTBTO. Dr. Robert Floyd is the Executive Secretary of this organization. He's here alongside Magdalene Wangoi-Wanyaga, who is a geoscientist. They both know a lot about what happens underground. They can hear vibrations when we don't. Telling us more about it. Keep it here, we'll be back.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Attention, Nairobi! Introducing Eden Cabs Taxi Service. Enjoy comfort, safety, and efficiency in the city. Join us on the 17th of August at the TRM Mall from 8 a.m. and stand to win fabulous gifts. Download Eden Cabs app from Google Play or App Store and enjoy a 30% discount on your first 5 rides. Terms and conditions apply. Your Eden adventure awaits.
Hey, baba boy, gas imeisha, shopping imeisha, na ujue tokens bado zinalia.
Msupa, nipe mbao na 20 minutes.
Mbao, like 20 bob.
Hey.
20 minutes, kwani kuna nini? Na ujue mi nataka kupika haki.
Jaber, kwani ujui daka mamilini every 20 minutes, halafu wanapea na 10 million every 20 minutes, na hadi kuna 3 millionaires every hour.
Daka mamili virahisi. Uko na nafasi 3 ya kuwa millionaire kila hour. Usipitwe. Cheza Daka. Ushike mita yako sasa. Chagua nambari zako 4 za bahati and win up to 10 million every 20 minutes. Nenda kwenye paybill 440440. Account Spice Amount. Cheza na shilingi 20 hadi shilingi 2,000 na ushinde mamilioni. Daka Mita kuwa bingwa.
The weather with Spice FM.
Okay, it's warming up in Nairobi. Partly sunny at 14 degrees. Kakamega is sunny at 17. Eldoret City, mostly sunny at 13. Mombasa City, sunny at 23. Malindi, sunny at 24. Kisumu, sunny at 21. Nakuru, sunny at 14. Nyeri, sunny at 15. Kampala, mostly sunny day at 18 with highs of 26. Lagos, sunny, a cloudy morning at 25, highs later of 29. Johannesburg, clear skies right now at 7, highs of 22 later. Kinshasa, clear skies at 22. Addis Ababa, cloudy at 14. Mogadishu is sunny at 27. Already warming up in Dar es Salaam, sunny at 21. And in Kinshasa, clear skies at 22. Beijing, heavy rain at 29. Partly cloudy morning in Paris at 17. Same kind of conditions, cloudy in London at 18. And it's turning up to be a very hot night in New York, 25 degrees. It'll rise to 31 later.
spice up your life.
Whatever is happening at City Stadium roundabout today is not good because it's affected Jogoo Road all the way. So from Makadara heading towards the City Stadium roundabout, it's been busy since 6 a.m. and it continues. So if you can avoid that, avoid Jogoo Road. Use other roads. For example, you can use Lunga Road. It's actually not looking bad. Enterprise Road is not bad. You can get onto Mombasa Road, which is not bad. Uhuru Highway, which is not bad at the Lusaka Nyayo Stadium roundabout. Bunyala Road is not bad. The only part that you'll find some issues on Uhuru Highway at the Railways Bridge heading into the Haile Selassie roundabout. Thika Superhighway, it's stretching now. It's not so bad this morning, not the way we normally see it at such a time in the morning. It's not yet at Utalii Hotel, so it's okay. Kiambu Road is also okay, just at the Muthaiga police station. That's where the traffic begins. It clears after the Pangani underpass. How's it looking like on Limuru Road heading towards the UN and into Muthaiga? Is okay. Westlands heading towards town is okay. James Keshuru Road heading towards the ABC place, that's fine. Actually, there's no traffic today. Is there a public holiday we didn't know about? Let's find out shortly.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
All right, our conversation continues on monitoring nuclear testing. So there's a ban in place, and there are 187 countries of the world that have signed up and said, we are not going to do nuclear testing. And they established an organization called the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty Organization, CTBTO, whose boss, the executive secretary, is Dr. Robert Floyd. He's our guest this morning, and he's accompanied by Magdalene Wangoi, who is a geoscientist who works in this country. And one of the times when the CTBTO has addressed the UN Security Council on the work that's going on, Magdalene was there as well. And you were talking about how else you can use the data from all these monitoring stations around the world to then help geoscientists such as yourself and help communities. I'll come to a question. CT had a question before the break.
You mentioned that when you use nuclear for purposes that are helpful, as in like providing electricity is a good thing. But then we have situations like what happened on the 11th of March 2011, Fukushima. Mm-hmm. Yes, it was contained, a lot of care was taken, a lot was done. But in such cases, the very thing that was intended for good turns out, for whatever reason, to be something that could be harmful. Does the organization look into ensuring that the safety measures that are taken, because there are entities that do precisely that, things like nuclear plants, but do you spread your wings to entities such as power producing plants so that one understands? Because again, with power producing plants, there's always a likelihood that something could go wrong.
See, within the UN system, there are two organizations that deal with nuclear-related issues. There is ours, the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty Organization, that is about monitoring and verifying that there are no nuclear tests of weapons that take place. The other is the International Atomic Energy Agency, the IAEA. It has a mandate on nuclear safety. And so the issues of safe use of nuclear energy for peaceful purposes is a part of their mandate. And so the IAEA certainly is very focused on the safe use of nuclear energy, the safe construction and operation of nuclear power plants. It is certainly very sobering when we see the kinds of impacts that happen when there is an accident at a nuclear power plant. And in the case of Fukushima, where it was related to a tsunami and the impact that that has had. Not the mandate of our organisation. We're not involved in civil use of nuclear energy. That's the International Atomic Energy Agency, but a very important point.
Of these 187 signatories to the CTBT, how many actually do have nuclear weapons?
The number of states with nuclear weapons under the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty recognised to have nuclear weapons, there are 5. And that is France, the UK, the Russian Federation, China, and the United States. But outside of those 5, India and Pakistan have also developed nuclear weapons. So that's 7. Israel neither confirms nor denies whether they have nuclear weapons. And North Korea has certainly tested an effective nuclear device. So you can add those numbers up, whether you've got 8 or 9 in your list.
How about Iran?
Iran, to this point, the concern of the nations of the world is as to whether they have a nuclear weapon development program. They certainly have nuclear power plants and civilian use of nuclear energy, which is perfectly their right.
Okay. But have they ever tested?
They have never tested. Our system has never picked that up, and I'm confident they have never tested. Our system will pick up a nuclear explosion anywhere, anytime. I can assure you of that.
So before 1996, there were many tests. Since 1996, those 25 years, only 10 tests have taken place. 6 by North Korea. The other 4?
India and Pakistan conducted a number of tests in 1998. Yeah.
Okay. And then before that, so it was just these main 4 countries that were regularly testing
5,
nuclear.
Yeah.
The main 5 countries.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And since then, they haven't.
That's correct. Yep. And the countries that have nuclear weapons have largely committed to a moratorium on testing as well, which is a political commitment, because our treaty has not yet entered into legal force, because there are a set of countries that still have to ratify this treaty so it can have legal effect. But those countries that possess nuclear weapons have committed that they will conduct no further tests. And that is a very good thing that they have made that commitment, and they're holding to that.
And they want nobody else to test. Basically, these 5-7 countries are saying we have the weapons and nobody else should have weapons.
The nations of the world came to a point where they said enough is enough when it comes to nuclear weapons and nuclear weapon development. And the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, a different treaty to the one we're responsible for, but one that works together with our treaty, is about stopping the spread, the proliferation of nuclear weapons, but also includes a commitment to ultimately disarming. So those 5 have taken a commitment to ultimately eliminate their nuclear weapons. So the goal is a world without nuclear weapons.
Okay.
And to have a world without nuclear weapons, we will forever need an effective monitoring system on testing to make sure nobody is breaking out, to give confidence to all the nations of the world that we can continue in a world without nuclear weapons. That is why we want to and we need to get all of the value we can out of the data that we collect in our 300 plus stations around the world for other civil and scientific purposes, the kinds of things that Maggie was referring to. And I could give you plenty of illustrations of how the data is used for amazing other purposes of science. And
I want to come into that shortly. I'm just wondering, why do the other 180 countries need to sign up to this treaty? They do not have intentions. They don't have nuclear weapons. They don't have... Why is Kenya, for example, a signatory to an issue about nuclear weapons? I mean, we know the countries that have the nuclear, there are 7.
We do, but if we are concerned about other countries developing nuclear weapons as well, then they're the ones that we also want to see that sign a treaty and say, we agree to a ban on testing. It was not a problem for Kenya to say, yes, we're going to sign this. Of course we will sign it. is that we will continue not to have nuclear weapons and we will not be testing. We will sign this treaty, and that's why your country proudly signed it very soon after it was open for signature.
Does it cost us anything
to
remain signatories of this treaty?
The organisation, the CTBTO, is funded by the state signatories, and there's a contribution that's made according to a scale that the UN has for these kinds of organisations. And yes, we deeply appreciate the financial contribution that Kenya makes to the organisation, along with every other one of the state signatories. I've got to say that if I was a businessman, this is a great deal for Kenya, is that Kenya gets way more benefit out of this treaty than the amount that they contribute. And we very much appreciate the contribution of money, of people, technology, and political support for our treaty by the government of Kenya.
What are those benefits?
Well, the benefits is the strong advocacy that Kenya provides, for a world without nuclear weapons and a world without nuclear testing. A wonderful benefit. The African continent has at its heart a desire to be nuclear weapon free, and has established a separate treaty to have the whole of Africa as a nuclear weapon free zone. A world without nuclear weapons and without nuclear tests beats in the heart of Africa. And maybe the reason that is so is because Africa has been the place of some tests. And Africa knows the devastation of these devices. And so Africa stands as one for a world without nuclear tests and without nuclear weapons. But we appreciate Africa's wholehearted support for this treaty in so many different ways.
So maybe some of the benefits are what Magdalene was telling the UN Security Council, that there's so much information that's being gathered by this treaty organization that then could also be used and financed to benefit countries such as ours, right, Magdalene?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So like what?
So tsunami warning systems, disaster management and early warning. We have earthquake monitoring, because sometimes earthquake can be quite destructive. I know Kenyans, we felt one recently and people were really freaked out. I was quite happy. I was enjoying. Yeah, I love waves.
You felt it, obviously.
Yes.
There are very many people who just, there's a tremor. What do you mean tremor? When?
Yeah.
Before it happened, Magdalene had felt it. She had called her people and told them, where are you? Stand where you are. Tell me what you feel.
We actually asked the questions.
Right.
So, yeah, there are very many applications that it can be used for, not just the scientific part, because we can have the interdisciplinary collaboration between this, what I call the science and the diplomacy side. And this is where I bring in the topic of science communication, because for scientists, we tend to not know how to bring these issues to the public or to the world. So when we collaborate, then I think even for the CTBTO, it gets us to a point where we are successful.
Let me ask, I'm curious about earthquakes.
Mm-hmm.
What causes earthquakes? And are there places that are more prone to earthquakes than others? If so, why?
Plate tectonics, earthquakes. Plate tectonics.
Okay.
So it's the movement of the earth plates.
The earth has plates?
Yes, the earth has plates.
How many?
Quite a number.
So when any of these many plates
they
move.
Are moving.
All right. Got you.
Stress is accumulated, and once it gets
What brings about the stress?
The movement. So
that movement causes stress.
Yeah.
And what causes the movement?
The earth is always moving. The magma chamber, like there's a convection cycle that happens at the magma, so we have subduction zones.
Magma is somewhere down here.
It's down.
All right.
Yeah.
So when all these magma and plates move around, then we have an earthquake.
The stress builds up,
yes.
And then like everyone, even the human beings, when it gets to a point, a critical point, then it ruptures.
All right.
And that is when
Why are some areas more prone to it than others?
Depending on the movement. So like in Africa or Kenya, for example, we have the Great Rift Valley. So it moves about 2 centimeters per year. And this movement of the plates...
Wait, when you say move, in what direction?
going apart.
Apart.
Yeah.
That's what causes the rift.
Yes.
Is that why it's called a fault?
Not a fault, but the rift. So it causes faulting. There's so very many.
So it just opens up.
Yes, slowly. Yeah.
You haven't answered my question. Why are some areas more prone to earthquakes than others?
So these movements depend. There's places that move quite fast, and by quite fast it could be a few centimeters. And there are places like, in our case, it's not so fast. So the movement, as it's moving this way, for example, definitely it's causing stress somewhere else. There's somewhere that will be impacted.
Are there things that we do as human beings that exacerbate these situations?
No, for earthquakes, really not. But we can cause explosions, which can be recorded by seismometers. But for earthquakes, it's natural, mainly. Yeah.
So the CTBTO monitoring systems are monitoring, they're feeling every slight movement underground, and activity underground, right? And now, of course, Dr. Floyd then flags it when it's clear that this is a nuclear test. But for everything else, he's like, all right, that's fine. That's okay. Do we get to use that information?
Yes, that is where I was bringing in.
Currently, are we using it?
Yes, we are.
How?
We have a national data center in Kenya, actually. So we have scientists working on this data. And even regionally, in East Africa and also in Africa, we have people working on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how come they didn't tell us about the tremor a couple of weeks ago?
I did.
No. So if there's this proper information that could help us, why is it not helping us? For example, was there early warning system that there is likelihood to be a tremor? Was there reporting of what you felt a couple of minutes ago was this, and this is where it came from? Because all we get is information from, I don't know, US seismologists, I don't know. If we have this information here, who should be giving us this information?
So it's, let me call it the multi-sectoral approach.
Broad-based.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's various people, because we have various stations. We don't only have the IMS stations. We have USGS stations in Kenya as well. We have smaller stations for specific studies, and they all capture this. So the National Data Center actually processes this data, and I know that they put it out.
When you say early warning signs, I need to understand, how early is it for it to be an early warning sign, and what form does it take so that we know we are now getting an early warning sign?
In Kenya, I think we are yet to develop that system. So like in Japan, it works really well. They are notified when something is about to happen, and because Japan is really seismically active, so they've taken the measures into that. In Kenya, not so much, but we are working towards that.
We are?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a very difficult, imprecise science.
Yeah. It's imprecise.
To predict a future event, because what you've got is these crust plates. So the Earth is filled with molten rock. So it's fluid at the center, but on the outside it's a crust where it has gone solid.
You just mentioned something very scary here.
It's very scary, CT.
The Earth is essentially molten rock.
Yeah.
Liquid.
Yeah, at the core.
The stuff that we see coming out of volcanoes.
The magma.
Yeah. That is why it creaks and groans, and there's noise in the Earth all the time as the crust on the outside is moving against itself. But to predict when it's going to finally move, that's when an earthquake happens, is when there's a rapid movement of two parts of the crust. To predict when that will give way is very difficult. But just in the last few days in Japan, they have put out a warning that a large seismic event may occur soon. So that is because they've seen the evidence, the geoscientists have seen the evidence building up towards there being a greater sign of tension that could then give And so they thought they need to give warning to the people that a large seismic event may occur again soon.
These seismic events, are they the things that are responsible for these tsunamis and the sea doing
Correct.
the thing that it does in some parts of the world?
If you have a seismic event and, say, two plates move or layers of rock move in different ways, they can form a tsunami. And so if one jumps up, then the water has to move from where it jumps up, and that will form a tsunami. Our data is being used by various countries of the world, over 20 of them now, to augment their tsunami warning system, so that our seismic network covering the whole planet, that data is available to tsunami warning systems and tsunami warning officers in over 20 countries of the world, but could be made available to more if they so choose. This is part of the benefits, but some of the other benefits, intriguing scientific benefits, we don't just collect seismic data, we collect sounds in the ocean, because if there was an underwater explosion, we need to hear it in the ocean. But our data is so sensitive, it picks up the calls of whales. The calls of whales anywhere in the oceans of the world are being listened to. That crazy noise that they make. But the whale scientists working in the Indian Ocean have been scanning our records of the sounds in the Indian Ocean. And some years ago, they heard a sound which was different to the other sounds of whales. And they actually then identified a whole new subspecies of whale based on its song, based on the data that we collect to detect if a nuclear explosion takes place. But then those scientists were able to use it to discover a whole new subspecies of whale. Then they could use our data to actually triangulate to work out where are those whales and find them. Isn't that amazing?
Where are they?
Well, they were in the northwest portion of the Indian Ocean.
When we say they're newly discovered or newly formed subspecies?
Well, species not known to science, a subspecies not known to science prior to this time of discovery. You'd have to ask the whale biologist your question, Eric. But let me tell you another example, Eric.
They can tell now the whales are coming to our Kenyan coast, can they?
Yeah. Well, this new subspecies may come to your coast. So, but I'll tell you another story about, again, the hydroacoustic data. A number of years ago, there was a submarine from Argentina that was deep in the South Atlantic Ocean, and then they lost all communication. So the Argentinian Navy were seeking to locate, where is this submarine? A desire to do search and rescue. Time went by, they were unsuccessful. Our station, our analysts, used data from 2 stations that are listening to sounds in the ocean. And we provided to the Argentinians a location that we said, maybe you should look here. They sent out their search vessels and they found that submarine. Sadly, it had imploded and all of the sailors had died. They found it less than 20 kilometres from the precise location that we said to go and look at. The 2 stations that picked up the sound of the implosion were 5,000 kilometres away.
Ooh.
And they could get precision of location down to 20 kilometres in the vast South Atlantic Ocean. The wonder of the science and the precision.
What is now fascinating is the scientists who came up with these systems. That's what I'm now marveling at.
Those are the ones you want to interview next.
Yes, we do.
So next time you come, Dr. Floyd, come with one of them. Let's get to hear this. And also see, because there's less and less testing of nuclear weapons, you have to keep your scientists busy.
How else can we keep the scientists busy and make sure that we are getting as much value from them as possible? We thank you very much for joining us today.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Dr. Robert Floyd is the Executive Secretary of the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty Organization, and Magdalene Wangoi Wanyaga is a geoscientist. She is one of those who knew that there was going to be a tremor.
And didn't tell us.
And didn't tell us. Keep it here for more conversations. Good morning, it's 8 a.m. In the next hour, we talk about exporting Kenyan labor abroad.
Spice up your life. 94.4 SpiceFM.
Good morning. This is the Newswire. I'm Edwin Lisamira. Women governors under the umbrella of the G7 caucus have vowed to lead a sustained campaign towards empowering and mentoring more women into positions of leadership. Speaking on Thursday during a guided tour of various development projects in Machakos County hosted by Governor Wavinya Ndeti, the leaders also vowed to work together to achieve socio-economic transformation of their counties. They also acknowledged the challenges that women often face in ascending to leadership roles, including systematic barriers, gender biases, and a lack of access to networks and mentorship opportunities. Here's Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru.
This time would also want to express our sincere support to our sister Governor Kawira Mwangaza, who was not able to be here today because of the impeachment that she's going through right now, and she has to prepare for Monday and Tuesday. We hope that she sails through, and that should not dissuade other women who want to run for the seat of governor.
Waiguru further expressed optimism that there will be more female governors in future.
We hope that we will have achieved the objective of starting the journey moving from G7 to G24, because we are hoping that in 2027 we will have a minimum of 24 female governors. And let me say now that we want to start by encouraging our male counterparts who are running for second term that look at what women can do. If you have a woman running mate, consider her to support, and if you don't, consider supporting a woman leader in your county to be a female governor, and we will be moving this country towards gender parity.
A petition has been filed challenging the appointment of Wycliffe Oparanya as Cooperatives and MSMEs Development Cabinet Secretary. The petitioner, Frederick Muller, wants the court to declare the appointment illegal and revoke the Director of Public Prosecution order to review Oparanya's case days before his nomination. The petitioner accuses the DPP of usurping powers of the ESCC in dropping the charges against Oparanya, among them conflict of interest, abuse of office, money laundering, and conspiracy to commit an offense of corruption. A family in Trans Nzoia County is in distress after their father jumped to his death from the first floor of a hospital building where he had been admitted. A 54-year-old Joseph Esiromo is said to have jumped from the Wamalwa Kijana Referral Hospital on Thursday morning. Dr. Andrew Wamalwa, who's the facility's medical superintendent, tells us what happened.
He was a patient who was being managed for delirium, that is acute confusional state. At around 11, there was reported violence, so he was restrained and he was sedated and he slept. At around 4 a.m., when the nurse was attending to another critical patient, the patient woke up and became violent. By the time the nurse came, he found the patient had walked out of the ward to the balcony and jumped through the guardrails to the ground.
The deceased family, led by her daughter, say they've suffered double tragedy, having buried a family member just days ago.
Kwa majina ni Violet Emojong. I'm the third born. Baba alikuwa na stress kwa sababu alipoteza mtoto on Thursday. Nyumbani tulimmanage poa, venye alifika hospitali, madaktari wakajaribu kidogo, tukakaa na mzee vizuri, tukamlisha chakula, alikuwa tu poa, so alikuwa anangojea kuwa discharge. Nikaenda kupumzika, kapigiwa simu, kurudi kapata mzee maaga.
Naitwa James Omaria, mtetezi wa haki za binadamu. Mzee kifo chake kimekuja baada ya kijana yake kufa Alhamisi iliyopita. Alikuwa na depression. Sisi kama majirani, kamati ya mazishi ya kijana, tulikuwa tumemanage kwa boma na akapelekwa Wamalo wa kijana Teaching and Referral Hospital kumanage stress ambayo alikuwa nayo. Tunataka haki itendeke.
The World Health Organization, or WHO, has called for a coordinated international response to stop the outbreak of Mpox and save lives. This comes after WHO Emergency Committee declared Mpox a global public health emergency following an outbreak of the viral infection in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The disease has since spread to neighboring countries in Africa. Here's WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom.
The emergency committee met and advised me that, in its view, the situation constitutes a public health emergency of international concern. The detection and rapid spread of a new clade of Mpox in eastern DRC, its detection in neighboring countries that had not previously reported Mpox, and the potential for further spread within Africa and beyond is very worrying. It's clear that a coordinated international response is essential to stop these outbreaks and save lives.
That's the Newswire. I'm Edwin Lisamira.
If you go out of this country and come back the same person, then you have a problem. Buy land, 1 million. Put it there for 5 years. What's the purpose?
It'll have increased in value.
No, that's the thing. That's darkness. You know, that's an eclipse. You don't do that.
I hope you don't believe that a hustler is a poor person, or that all hustlers are poor. I've seen that conversation.
Tell us, who is a hustler?
Who's a hustler? Hustler is a person who is making a living through hard work.
Corruption in Kenya is a political accusation. The people who are actually corrupt are not pointed fingers at.
Kenya is not free. Kenya imeshikwa na mateka. It's under siege.
Have you seen that lodge on Nyeri Road? Very high fence. You can't even sleep inside.
Up near the ceiling.
Yes. And if you walk there at midnight, you see bats the size of cows.
And when it rains, it doesn't rain on that building.
Yes.
When you're at All Saints and it's raining, it doesn't rain on that building.
The things people will believe.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
102.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
3, 2. Everybody, welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation.
Heri Latifa, Muga, Madam Du, nimesalamia wote sana.
Tumepokea salamu, asante sana.
Hapa Garissa today the weather is very good, only that baridi inatupeleka mbio sana.
Baridi ni degree ngapi hapa?
Hata sijui lakini madam tunakauka sana.
If you want to follow the money trail, you've got to think like a thief to be able to catch that thief.
A slap from a friend is better than a kiss from an enemy. You remember the kiss of Judas Iscariot? Iscariot.
Yes.
He's the one that imetuweka kwa hii mashida yote na mataabu kwa sababu of that kiss. Yet the slap of Jesus Christ when he slapped those guys wenye walikuwa wanauza mboga ndani ya kanisa took them to heaven.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Thika Road is fine for a Friday. Actually, it just starts at Mathare Hospital, heading on towards the Muthaiga interchange, or if you're on Kiambu Road at just the Muthaiga Golf Course upon approaching the police station. After that, the underpass is clear. Wangari Maathai Road is okay until the overpass again near the overpass with Limuru Road. There's an issue there. Maybe there's something, a vehicle that has stalled. Is it up or down actually? Yeah, it's up. There's an issue up there on the overpass. And then it clears on, going on. It's also busy, very busy on Muranga Road around Garage coming towards the Globe Cinema roundabout as you'd expect. Landis Road has been very okay this morning, but there's been an issue at the City Stadium roundabout, which is affecting the entirety of Jogoo Road, which is also now affecting Heshima Avenue. And this is
those areas around Huruma, coming all the way towards Isilin to Heshima Avenue, quite busy. But the rest of the road is okay. Then when you look at Mombasa Road is okay, Uhuru Highway is all right, Langata Road is fine, Ngong Road is fine, North Airport Road is fine. If you look at James Geshoro Road is fine, Limuru Road is fine. It's very good looking this Friday morning.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latin, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the
all right. Welcome to the third hour of the Situation Room this morning. Thank you very much for joining us and for keeping it locked. We always appreciate you. Have you considered going for a medical checkup? It's important that you do that. Only 9,950 CT. And then what does that do?
Well, what you do is you get to know the state of your health. That is what you do. And the benefits are profound. If there's something lurking, something that may actually not just be injurious, but which may take you to the next world, you will know it early and you will give it the attention it deserves so that you continue being healthy. Again, a message to men, especially men over 40. You need to go not just for that checkup, but it needs to go for that checkup at least twice a year. Yes. It is important you get to know.
Go to any Aga Khan University hospital center near you. So you can go to the main hospital or you can just go to wherever. You know, any Aga Khan University hospital center near you, go there, tell them, I've come, I'd like a comprehensive medical checkup. And they'll tell you, all right, this is what we can do. Maybe we can book a date for you this day. Just pay up and we'll offer the services. Okay? Now, Nairobi, get ready. The Cradle Study Abroad World Fair is coming to you. Meet top international universities, apply on the spot and secure partial scholarships. Get student visa and accommodation assistance all in one place. This is at the Cradle World Fair on the 31st of August from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Gallant Mall, Parklands in Nairobi. This is Gallant Mall, Parklands in Nairobi. On the 31st of August from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. What do? Go there and you get to learn about the very many places that you can get to study abroad, okay? International universities. You can apply right there on the spot. And if you're thinking about, okay, so if I get there, how do I get accommodation? Many of them will tell you about how you can get accommodation. Actually, they can assist you. As you make your application, you also get accommodation assistance.
Put it simply, every question that you seek an answer for, they will give you appropriate guidance. Yes.
Simple as that. Register by visiting www.cradle.com, CRAYDEL.com, www.cradle.com, or you can call them on 0799 000 444, 0799 000 444. You're thinking of studying abroad? This is the one place that you must be at on the 31st of August from 11 to 4, and this is the Gallant Mall in Parklands, Nairobi. Google Map if you don't know, or call 0799 000 444. They'll tell you where it is, or register on cradle.com. Sasawa? Sasawa. Okay. Now, Kenyans are looking for jobs, Maju. Are they?
Yes, they are.
Are they?
Jobs everywhere.
Or is the government looking for jobs, Maju, for Kenyans? And Kenyans are like, why are you sending us away? We want to be here.
Actually, those who want to be here will stay here. Those who want to leave will leave. Yes. That's the government being proactive.
All right.
Yes. There's an opportunity abroad. It exists. And since we have a labor abundance, why not ensure that this abundance goes somewhere where their labor can be applied appropriately?
Why not take advantage of it?
Precisely because the advantage exists.
It comes in very many questions, and that's why we've invited the Principal Secretary for Diaspora Affairs to come and respond to these very many questions, okay? Roslyn Kathurenjogu, the PS for Diaspora Affairs, welcome back to the Situation Room.
Thank you so much for having me.
Good.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Good to have you in the hot seat of the Situation Room. Ngoja, I set for you the right mic. It had happened the other way around, okay? This is the mic. So
now,
let's start
do I
again.
need to say hello again?
Now,
yes,
let's
start again.
PS, good morning.
Good morning, Latif. Good morning, City. It's a real pleasure to be here again. Thank you for having me.
Karibu sana. Karibu sana. Yeah. Now, I know people in various households love football.
Okay.
And they love the English Premier League. And we have a message for them this morning that the English Premier League is kicking off this weekend. And they can be listening to SpiceFM to hear the live matches. Okay, you don't have to watch, just listen. What better way to actually follow football than just by listening? Because you know it plays on your imagination. Mpira umekuwa mwingi. Like, okay, those are 5 balls.
Okay, they have become plenty.
Suddenly. Yeah. So every time it happens, remember the Standard Group has the rights to broadcast the English Premier League on radio. And we are the only ones with those rights in this country. So SpiceFM, Berur FM, Radio Maisha.
Yes.
Hizo zote.
Yes.
It happens. City, give the city, the PS the day's proverb.
Yes. This is our final proverb for this wonderful country known as the Central African Republic. Most African countries will tell you, we'll be told this is Kenya, the Republic of Kenya, the Republic of Uganda. Central African Republic, we're not waiting for you. They inform you. Central Africa Republic, and don't mistake it in West Africa.
Where are you? We are in Africa. Where in Central
Africa.
Yeah.
And we are that republic.
Are you a monarchy? No.
But we made an attempt for 2 years. Didn't quite work out. Believe it or not, we even had an emperor for those 2 years. Didn't work out. But it's unique.
So they resorted to being
just an ordinary third world country, rich in natural resources, but just about the poorest country on the planet. You're talking about the Human Development Index. They rank 191 out of 193. By the way, those of you who like large numbers, it doesn't mean they're doing well. It means they're doing badly. Okay? The only 2 other countries on the planet that are worse than them. The proverb, when a wealthy leader runs out of words, money does the talking.
When a wealthy leader runs out of words, money does the talking. Interpretation.
Maana ya ndani ama maana ya
zote mbili.
What is it we used to call it? Okay. I think the obvious one is that when one can no longer rely on what they have naturally, whether it is wisdom or understanding or ideas, and they buy people off. I would imagine that's the maana ya juu.
Yes, the maana ya
ndani. This one might not be a very deep one. I think maana ya juu na maana ya ndani are exactly the same. Might be exactly the same.
This is it. There's nothing else that they're telling you.
I think so. I think that's it. I think it's right there.
There's no hidden message here.
No. Today's Friday. You're not taxing anybody's brain. It's very simple. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Somebody's saying, actually, it's good that you're here because I have a question about Mkulima Maju. 6 days ago, on your X handle, you talked about what is happening, that you were excited as you met 350 young farmers who are living for the UK under the hashtag Mkulima Maju program. You got to share with the world a part of the work that we've been doing in facilitating Kenyans to participate in the global labor market over the last 1 year. 1,567 young farmers who are Kenyans have benefited from this program. The Youth Fund has facilitated the costs associated with travel to ensure that all those who qualify can take up the opportunities. That is one issue. Then, I'm just looking again, your X handle. You've been busy. Haya.
Tuko kazi bwana.
Ni kazi. I'm going to the next one here. Let me go up, where you recently announced Kazi Maju for NYS graduates. See this advert by NYS on opportunities in Australia. Australia, their jobs: light vehicle mechanics, 120 openings; diesel mechanics, 100 openings; panel beaters, 50; auto glaziers, that's window fitters, 38; motor vehicle electricians, 115; fitter machinist, 50; painters, 130; construction carpenters, 200; ceramic wall and floor tilers, 190. For additional information, you can check out the NYS, and also there is a QR code there. Those are very many jobs. Higher opportunities in veterinary medicine for Kenyan vets within the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock. This is within the country. Others elsewhere. Hey, there are many jobs abroad.
Well, the ones you've described, yes, are a few opportunities abroad, and you've also described the ones here, Ministry of Agriculture. Also, internships are ongoing through the Public Service Commission. The season for applications is open. That one I might not even have shared it probably on Twitter, on X.
It's there, internships.
Oh, okay.
You also share.
I also share. Yeah, iko kazi.
Local internships.
Yes. Right. So the question is, why are there so many jobs abroad?
No. Why is our government sending our young people, first of all, our young farmers, to go and farm in the UK? Our young painters, our young carpenters, our young machinists, whom we've trained
elsewhere.
Through, we have paid money to take them through free primary education, taken them through education, taken them through TVET, and then we are sending them to go and work in Australia. Or work in the UK.
That's a really good question, and I'm excited to have a conversation about it. I think we need to be clear about what government is actually doing. Firstly, can we agree that we are in an unemployment crisis? That has been the thing that everybody talks about. We don't have jobs, we don't have jobs, we don't have jobs. If you're in any position of leadership, people are always in your inbox saying, nitafutieni kazi, nitafutieni kazi. So when we walked into government, we did find that there was an unemployment crisis or situation, and it is not new. It has been the case for quite some time. Every year, this country churns out about 1 million new people who are ready to join the labor force. But the opportunities are not that many. But everybody knows this, right? If we look through your phone, someone is asking you to help find them a job, and you as well. Everybody's looking for an opportunity. So GOK's approach to this unemployment crisis is three-pronged. Jobs at home, digital jobs, diaspora jobs, right? With the biggest emphasis being jobs here at home. Because when people work here at home, they are not removed from their families. They are able to contribute in a very real way into the local economy, right? And that is what everybody wants. But the situation is such that there aren't enough opportunities here. So enter the second prong, which is digital jobs. How do you find opportunities? How do you continue to live here but work for Amazon? How do you continue to live in Nakuru and work for a law firm in the US? How do you live in Limuru and continue to work for an IT firm in Netherlands and so on? And that is now the beauty or the opportunity that we have in this particular season. We have an extremely youthful workforce. We have a huge ICT capacity within Kenya. And of course, GOK is augmenting some of that by creating the digital hubs. I think 1,400 digital hubs are coming up or in some way are under development in every single ward, which allows young people, mashinani, to be able to enter that space, pick up some digital skills and work, do digital jobs of various kinds. It can be the little sort of task type thing, describe what you're seeing on this video and so on, all the way to software engineering and that kind of thing. But the one I know you want me to talk about largely is diaspora jobs. Now, we are in a global labor market. We can agree. There is labor coming from everywhere in the world, and there are opportunities everywhere in the world, which means over the last several years, because of globalization, because of increased connectivity, and so on, I can now tell that they are looking for a lawyer with my qualification somewhere in Netherlands, right? 10, 15, maybe years ago, that's not something I had access to. But now I can see these opportunities. So because of this increased connectivity, because of globalization, these opportunities are there. And there is actually a global labor market. Even before GOK enters the space, people were or entered the space, people were already moving abroad. A number of people, including people in this room, have lived and worked abroad. Right, so the global labor market exists. There is there are market forces at play, right? Let me paint a quick example. So you have an extremely youthful workforce here in Kenya, right? Our median age is 19 years, actually 19.8 years. Median age in certain places like Germany, other parts of Europe, Canada, are anything between 44 years and 48 years, which means they are at the point where the baby boomers are finally exiting employment, and now they have huge labor gaps. That's number one. The second thing is that when you have an older demographic, you have certain needs and certain gaps. You have increased needs in healthcare, for example. Older people tend to need more and more, assistance. You have needs in geriatric care, and so on. It also means that the kind of skills that are usually found in young people are not there. Usually things in the creative economy or hospitality, ICT, those kinds of skills are not in abundance in these spaces. Now, on the other side, and if you look at their their growth or demographic pyramids, they look something like this, right? So like an inverted pyramid. Now, if you look at Kenya's demographics pyramid, it's the opposite, right? So we have a fat base. It's a proper pyramid. So we have a fat base in the sense that we have young people, and the numbers keep decreasing as we get to the top, which means we have exactly what the world needs. So you have healthcare, you have young people who are energetic and are able to work. A number of them are in the healthcare space, right? So you have the quote-unquote supply for the world's demand. You have young people who are involved in the creative economy, right? So artists, designers, and so on. But you also have a huge ICT, if you like, complement. So a lot of young people who are tech savvy, and in this part of the world, tech savvier than the rest of the world. Natural forces or the market forces immediately mean that where there is demand and where there is supply, there's going to be a movement, whether you like it or not. And we have seen that movement even before GOK got involved. Now, about 10 years ago, 15 years ago, we also started to see a huge movement of people like in domestic work, right? Yep. So this is not something that we traditionally had seen. The traditional diasporian was somebody who went to the US or to the UK or to Australia, Canada for a degree.
Studied and started working.
Exactly. So on a path to some form of permanent residency, sometimes dual citizenship and so on. That used to be the profile of the diaspora. That has changed significantly in the last 12 years, okay? We now started to see people on a lower end of the socioeconomic status, a lower socioeconomic status, moving abroad to find work in more informal spaces or in sort of outside the usual spaces of the market, and are finding work in the household, so to speak. So people are working in other people's homes in another country as a domestic driver, as a housekeeper, as a nanny, as a gardener, and so on. And that changes sort of the dynamics of your diaspora and the kinds of things that you need to do. But that also meant that something is happening in that global labor market, that now different kinds of players, quote unquote, can enter that space and can play in that space. It's almost a more democratic sort of democratization of the labor market. So now you start to see different entrants entering that space. When I took office in 2022, one of the biggest crises I found was there was a real cry in the Middle East about a mistreatment of Kenyan domestic workers and so on. Some of the questions we had to ask ourselves are, how did you get to this place and what role can GOK play? So we did create a global labor market strategy. It basically said there is this thing that's going on over here, which is a global labor market, and it is doing market things, right? There's labor, there is demand, there is supply, there is bargaining.
People are moving from the country.
People are moving, and people are moving sometimes in unsafe ways. There are people who need protection and not getting that protection because, and so on. So we asked, what does government do then? How does government respond to the fact that there is a global labor market and our citizens are playing in that space?
Mm-hmm.
So we came up with a strategy, and a big part of what GOK does is 4 things, right? So GOK enters the space to regulate it, to create policy, to protect citizens, and to facilitate labor migration.
Mm-hmm.
And all of these 4 things are things we've thought hard and we've thought through, right? Government's main responsibility in spaces like this is to regulate. And there are ways that you regulate markets, whether they be markets, internal markets or whatever, but you have to regulate that space. You have to say, these are the people who can play in this space. These are private recruiters, for example. These are the various players, and these are the laws or the policies that govern them. Then you create policy around it and say, okay, so we have labor migration, it is happening, but as a government, how should we respond to this? As a largely labor-sending country, how do we respond to the issues that we are seeing, whether they be protection issues and so on? Then you say, how do we protect citizens? We are aware that increasingly, if you're going to have 4 million of your nationals living abroad, this is a national security issue. You need to worry about where all of your people are and what can you do about that. How do you protect these 4 million people? Okay, so protection becomes an issue. So that then you now talk about how do we enhance the capacity of our embassies? What can diaspora officers do? How do we increase the capacity of labor attachés and so on? How do we bring in other actors around our people? But finally, you see, there are actually advantages or opportunities to be found in the global labor market. It is addressing a need that we currently have, which is we have a youthful population and it continues to grow. There are 1 million people entering the labor market every year. There are not 1 million opportunities opening up every single year. What are you going to do about this? You said something, Latif. You said that we have spent money educating people, free primary education, free secondary education. We give help or a different mode of funding higher education. So yes, indeed, government has invested, or taxpayers have invested in every single one of these young people. I understand that something like 30% of our entire budget goes towards education.
It does.
So this is the investment.
Yep.
It is like what our parents told us: you will not get an inheritance from me, what you will get is an education. So that is it. So now what do you do with that? After you have educated somebody until that point, do you then leave them? They are educated, they are smart, they are capable, you have pumped everything, but we're not able to cross you to the next level because we are just not there.
And let's take a break on that note, because that's what then the pushback is from the people.
Okay.
All right?
So we will pick that up.
Is the government doing this instead of working to make sure that we have the opportunities or conducive environment to absorb you into a labor market? What we are doing is sending you out of the country. Is that the ROI that we're looking for when we're spending so many hundreds of billions of shillings of our taxpayers' money into educating our young people? 28 minutes to 9. Our guest this morning is the Principal Secretary for Diaspora Affairs, Rosalind Kathure-Njogu. She's here to talk about the jobs abroad, the diaspora jobs. Of course, there's the jobs at home, there's the digital jobs. We'll talk about those two, the digital jobs and the diaspora jobs. Why is it a big thing? Why is it a government program to look and secure jobs and to protect workers who are leaving this country to go and work elsewhere? Back shortly. Keep it here.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
What? My head is aching, shoulders paining, and it's like I'm adding weight very fast.
Now, by the way, see, I thought you are...
Nilifikiri umefanya ile kitu. No, I know what you are thinking. I'm not pregnant. Not now.
Now, when you haven't heard about Aga Khan Hospital, they have a wellness program.
Aga Khan University Hospital has made medical checkups more available through their subsidized wellness package at 9,950 for a comprehensive medical checkup. Don't wait for a health scare. Do your health check at the Aga Khan University Hospital clinics in your neighborhood today. Get your vitals checked today. Call 0111 011 888 for more information.
Hey, baba boy, gas imeisha, shopping imeisha, na ujue tokens bado zinalia.
Msupa, nipe mbao na 20 minutes.
Mbao, like 20 bob. 20 minutes, kwani kuna nini? Na ujue mimi nataka kupika haki.
Jaber, kwani ujui dakika mamilini every 20 minutes, halafu wanapea na 10 million every 20 minutes, na hadi kuna 3 millionaires every hour.
Daka mamili virahisi. Uko na nafasi 3 ya kuwa millionaire kila awa. Usipitwe. Cheza Daka. Ushike mita yako sasa. Chagua nambari zako 4 za bahati and win up to 10 million every 20 minutes. Nenda kwenye paybill 440440. Account Spice amount. Cheza na shilingi 20 hadi shilingi 2,000 na ushinde mamilioni. Daka mita. Kuwa bingwa.
The weather with Spice FM.
The weather. Okay, it is 15 degrees and partly sunny in Nairobi. In Kakamega is sunny at 19. In Eldoret City, partly sunny at 17. The Eldoret City will have temperatures rising to 22, and then Eldoret City will have temperatures dropping to 12 later on. None of that will affect the new statues. Mombasa, 24 and sunny. Malindi, 28 and sunny. Kisumu City, mostly cloudy at 22. Nakuru is sunny at 16. Nyeri is sunny at 15. Kampala is clear, mostly sunny this morning at 21. Kinshasa, sunny at 22. Johannesburg is warming up to 9 and sunny. Lagos is cloudy at 25. Mogadishu is sunny at 27. Addis Ababa is light rain at 14. Sunny in Dar es Salaam at 24. Paris is sunny at 17. Beijing, rain showers at 28. Cloudy in London at 18. And New York is clear skies at 25.
Spice up your life.
Buana, there's a public holiday that we are not aware of. People are nowhere on the roads. It's 8:30. It's peak traffic hour, but North Airport Road is okay.
Roads are empty.
Roads are empty, bwana. North Airport Road is okay. Uhuru Highway is okay. Mombasa Road is all right. Langata Road is okay. Ngong Road, it's only busy when you get to the City Mortuary roundabout coming towards town, and then it's also clear. Valley Road is fine. Jogoo Road is the only one that has an issue because there's something that's happened at the City Stadium roundabout. So it's affected Jogoo Road. It's also affecting Lusaka Road as you head towards there. It's affecting Landis Road as you go to City Stadium roundabout. Landis Road towards town is clear. When did you ever hear that? When did you last hear me saying Landis Road towards town is clear? Aye. In Ngara, it's clear. Aye, pana, there's something that's happening we don't know about. Whatever it is, you just tell us. Even us, we take advantage. On X, our handle is SpiceFMKE.
Sugar and spice and everything nice. Spice FM.
Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
So, we have seen more than 1,400 young Kenyan farmers are going to work in the UK. Many hundreds of young Kenyan electricians, plumbers, masons and all going all the way to Australia to work. We have seen nurses and others in the healthcare space going to Europe to work, even Australia. Then we are seeing domestic workers, so Kenyans who are seeing opportunities in domestic work going to the Middle East. We're also seeing the same in hospitality. We are seeing the same in the service sector. And people are saying, and the government is actually talking and gloating about it as if it's doing a very good thing to send our people to go and work in these areas. Like it's selling people into slavery.
So
yes, you know this is like the comment that
yes,
get.
I've seen the comment, and it's a little concerning. First of all, because government does not send people to go and work anywhere. We're not selling anybody. We're not sending anybody. People choose to go to find these opportunities. Let me actually give you some numbers. So in the last maybe 20 months that we have tracked, 120,000 Kenyans have gone abroad for work. 120,000 Kenyans have gone abroad for work.
In 20 months?
In about 20 months.
Right.
Yes. 120,000 Kenyans. It could be more. This is as the last numbers I looked at. 120,000 Kenyans had gone abroad for work. Of those, very few are government-organized programs, right? Very few programs like the Mkulima Maju program that we were talking about last week are organized programs. The major players in labor migration is actually private sector, right? So it is people who are looking for opportunities, connected to opportunities abroad through the private sector. Right, so I find an opportunity for 20 drivers in Qatar as a registered agent. I advertise, 20 Kenyans, 100 Kenyans apply, 20 are taken. They go and find their jobs abroad. This is how we have grown over the years into as large a diaspora as we have. We are now close to the 4 million mark of Kenyans living and working abroad.
4 million?
Yes. So this is the behind the scenes picture of how
this has been going on.
This has been going on.
Out of the 4 million, it's less than 1 million that have gone during the Kenya Kwanza administration.
Yes.
So more than 3 million had gone even before.
Yes. By the time we created a State Department for Diaspora Affairs, we already had over 3 million Kenyans living and working abroad. But what I'm trying to say is this, that labor migration, first of all, starts with the person who wants to find an opportunity, who wants to work abroad for whatever reason. Probably I can't find a job here, or as with many diasporans, I want to experience something new. I want to try something out. I want to go to a country where I think my skill might fetch me a better price. Okay, so I go and I work there. And I feed my family. I build a house for my mother. I am able to make a livelihood, which explains why we've had just last year in remittances 4.2 billion US dollars in remittances, because people do work abroad and send money to support their families. So let's be clear that government is not putting people in buses or in airplanes and sending them away to go and work. There is a freedom of movement.
Okay.
We are a country of freedom of movement.
Is the government actively looking for opportunities?
Yes, we are. Okay. We're actively looking for opportunities because, as I said, we do have these many young people who need to find opportunities. Now, I did say that your first responsibility, or the most important prong of the 3 prongs of addressing unemployment, is finding opportunities here in Kenya, or creating a conducive environment for businesses to grow, therefore for opportunities to grow. And this is the work that government is supposed to do, and government does, right? And you do that through legislative interventions, through tax interventions, through creating an incentive framework for businesses to grow, right? You also do that through targeted programs. You decide, we are going to build affordable housing, and in the affordable housing space, we are going to be able to attract these many people to pick up jobs in the entire value chain. You're aware, for example, that in the affordable housing project now 180,000 people have found opportunities in that space, whether it is as a mason, whether it is as a person in a cement factory, and so 180,000. I want to say 180,000. It could be 160,000.
So you're saying as many people as have left the country have actually found jobs in housing alone?
In housing alone.
And what's the demand for jobs or opportunities in the country?
What do you mean by that?
Well, if you have 180 people who found jobs...
1,000.
1,000, sorry. How many people are actually looking for jobs?
1 million every year. Remember I said 1 million are entering the market every year. Yes.
The reason why I asked that question is because when we talk about jobs, you talk about exporting labor, you talk about brain drain, we're actually having 2 different conversations, and I'll say why. When you talk about skilled labor, somebody who has a skill that is perhaps necessary, and it's a high-paying skill, it's very different from when somebody whose skill is probably manual labor, or it is themselves who are the labor, not necessarily the brain or the qualification that they have. Now, the element or the discussion around exploitation then comes along. And that is the problem that we had in the Middle East. Okay? But are we saying that of the people who leave Kenya to go abroad, that we have a sufficient number of people who remain in the country who, A1, will fit into the job requirements for the country, or have what the labor needs of the country have can be met by those who remain. So
I think the surplus city speaks exactly to that we have more people than we have opportunities. Right, and so I will say something shortly about the brain drain conversation that you have started. But let me just make the quick point that whether government creates structured projects for people to work abroad, such as the Mkulima Maju project that we were talking about last week, or doesn't, you will have Kenyans moving even into unsafe places to work. I currently have Kenyans in Iraq working, in Iraq. Against every ban, against every instruction that people should not be working in Iraq, Kenyans are working in Iraq.
They're working in Lebanon.
Now, it's a good thing you've raised Lebanon, because we are currently working on an evacuation out of Lebanon, right? There has been a ban on labor migration to Lebanon since September of last year. But in the last 2 years, we've seen the number of Kenyans double in Lebanon. We currently have 26,599 as at yesterday Kenyans in Lebanon. The day we started issuing notices about evacuation, asking Kenyans to sign up to register to be evacuated, I had 6 Kenyans arriving in Beirut that morning. So the idea that government is moving people is not accurate. Kenyans are moving even to places where we have told them, please do not go here. It is not safe. And then they will just not declare where they are going. We currently have a crisis in Thailand, Myanmar, Laos, PDR, Vietnam of trafficking. We have given advice after advice after advice, and I probably even spoke about it the last time I was here, about Kenyans being trafficked into these spaces because they have seen an advert for call center jobs, teaching, and so on. And we have said these jobs do not exist.
They're
also,
fake.
if you hear about a job in a particular country, contact us and we will verify it for you. And we do this at no cost. We will let you know whether that job exists or not. But Kenyans will still go.
Okay. Why?
So the point I'm making, Latif, is this, that we do have structured programs. And the reason we structure programs is exactly so that we can work protection mechanisms into these projects. The reason you see government negotiating bilateral labor agreements, and the Ministry of Labor leads that, is so that we are able to say, if Kenyans are going to come and work here, these are the minimum standards, this is the minimum pay, this is what we expect from the other government in terms of facilitation, not just for visas, but for evacuations, for repatriations, and so on. So we do the protection work.
Okay.
But we are also aware, and this is the point I think that I need to make, an opportunity exists here. There is a global labor market. If we had the unemployment problem that we have now and there wasn't a global labor market, then we would be in a real big pinch. But there is a global labor market that is looking for skill that Kenyans have.
We're in a global village. You know what, P.S.? We've had these conversations here many times, and I've always come from the school of thought that, yes, we are in a globalized village. There's labor migration keeps happening all the time. And when we were seeing all these cases coming from the Middle East, we were arguing that, you know what, our government was not involved at all in protecting our workers. But our government was not blind to the fact that our workers were leaving this country. Our government is never blind to anything that's happening in the country. So our government was aware that Kenyans were leaving, but for a long time, these Kenyans were going there unprotected. And now when we start seeing issues of protection coming in, the question is, how are they being protected? So give us, for example, the difference between that private sector-led labor migration into countries, like you've said, like in Myanmar and others, and how different then that is from the Mkulima, whatever, jobs in the UK.
Mkulima Maju. So, so that's a good question. And Latif, if you have paid attention, and I know you have, you've noticed that the distress in the Middle East over the last 2 years has gone completely down. there's very little noise about housekeepers or domestic workers who are being ill-treated in the Middle East. It is not what it was in December of 2022 because we have made protection of our workers and various interventions, right? So that is both repatriation, that is ensuring that we have people on the ground. The Ministry of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs now has opened, for example, a new consulate in Jeddah so that you are able to serve, so countries like Saudi Arabia, which are very large, and we have huge populations there, so you're able to do more. But also just setting up a State Department for Diaspora Affairs that looks at diaspora welfare as its main job this has been a big intervention. So the protection work, we are on it, which is why you also see us negotiating hard bilateral labor agreements. The agreement that we are signing with Germany next month is premised on the idea that if you're going to have this many people move to a particular country, then it makes sense that we do it in a structured way so that we have a forum where we can sit with the other government bilaterally and say 1, 2, 3 things are not happening, they need to be done, and so on. So we also understand their law. And that's what will happen usually in these negotiations. But let me say this. So the Mkulima Maju program, for example, is basically a seasonal workers visa program where young farmers, and by farmers I mean people who've just finished a certificate or a diploma qualification in agriculture. From a TVET or from a few other colleges. We've had one, a Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development College, and the NYS college that teach agriculture. They work 6 months in UK farms, highly mechanized farms, right? So they're doing interesting work in, cold chain management, bringing down post-harvest losses. So the things that plague part of our industry here, our agricultural industry here. So what they studied, so these are people who are farmers by training. Okay. So they are doing work in agriculture, which is their training. But they go to these large farms, the kind that we don't have here probably. And they do this work, and they do it for 6 months. And the arrangement is that after 6 months, you leave the UK. We've had the first batch come back, right? And they make good money. So the conversations around you're selling off our young people to go do manual labor is really inaccurate and ill, not advised, but informed, thank you. Because the minimum pay these kids make is about 250,000 shillings per month. And they have accommodation and all of that. And that's before, what do you call it? Before overtime. Before overtime.
Not overwork.
No, please. Before overtime. So we heard.
Do they have medical?
Sorry?
Do they have medical?
They have a number of things taken care of in their contracts. We checked these contracts very thoroughly.
Could you mention some of these things that they have?
Apart from the
medical,
and then they get to they have accommodation. I think they are fed. I can't quite remember clearly.
Pension.
No.
It's a net.
It's a 6 month program, which means and 6 months visa, which means there are certain restrictions about some of the things that you can do, and how many extra hours you can work and so on. But so you work for the. Let me finish. You work for the 6 months at Staples Farm, for example, or whatever large farm. You get to do some overtime. You come home, and this is their own testimony. And if you listen, and these things are on our YouTube, you will have heard some of them said, "I came back with a couple of million shillings, okay, in my pocket." Please note, this is a 22-year-old young man or young woman who has just finished TVET, who had not had a job, did not have a job. Went away, came back with 1.8 million shillings, 1.6 million shillings, 2 million shillings. They have said, I came and I paid school fees for my siblings. I finished building my mother's house. I am putting a little bit of this money into my own firm to invest. I will be here 6 months, and then I'm going back for another stint. So these jobs are changing people's lives, because it would have taken that young man a very long time to have made the same kind of money. So as we shout slave labor or whatever, let's be clear that this person went off, learned something amazing, bettered himself or herself in terms of their own training, made money, came and invested it back home, and has an opportunity to do this again. If they do well, there's a chance.
There's a part of that sentence.
Yes.
They did all these things because there were no opportunities at home.
But what if we hadn't been able to structure that opportunity for them?
That's
Please remember also, Latif.
That's the issue.
Remember also, Latif.
Do people feel that the government is actually working just as hard to create those opportunities?
Okay, I don't know if
for these
if
people
any
that we
of
are
you
taking
farmers,
to college,
yes, I
to
understand.
study agriculture.
I understand.
Are there opportunities for them to invest or work in agriculture, even as they come back with their 3 million shillings?
2 million.
Let's say 2 million shillings, okay?
Yeah.
Even when they come back with a 2 million bomb, okay?
Yeah.
They are not able to find anything that would be able to accommodate them. They have money, but they're not able to find. What they're doing is they're paying school fees. They're looking to go back there.
No, so let me be clear.
Are there opportunities here?
For them, but let me also ask you a very honest question.
Please ask.
Because anybody who's a farmer or has spent, and that's many Kenyans who spent a little bit of time trying to grow something, knows that it does take time to grow things. Okay? So the growing of an economy, for example, is not like this. It's not immediate. You make certain interventions, you give them time. Private sector responds to these things.
Yes.
Yeah. So you create an enabling environment, and private sector responds to these things. It takes
that's the
it takes
pushback,
time.
PS.
But I hear the
PS
pushback.
Is that there's no sufficient or commensurate effort to create an enabling environment locally for the private sector then to thrive, so that all these opportunities, if not 1 million, at least 500,000 opportunities will be available.
Playing the effort of the government.
180,000 that go into housing.
So, but you see, that is part of it, right? That is part of it. You create opportunities where 180,000 people get to work in housing, for example, with a lot of pushback. Yeah? Creating an affordable housing program is probably has come with a lot of pushback. But this has created 180,000 jobs. It does take some doing.
Madam Pierce, a lot
create
of these things may be out of your purview or docket. The reason is this.
Yeah.
Everything you speak about is not only laudable, it's something that hadn't been done before. These structures are new. People simply used to go abroad.
Yep.
And you're not even sure how they went abroad.
Find your way, make your way.
Or you have a relative who calls you.
Yeah.
These structures, the clarity that we've had since you took this docket. Simple case. Larger picture. Where do people have opportunities and employment? In industry, in commerce, in farming. Now, the reality of our country is that every time we have a discussion around this, the feeling is that the government doesn't do enough to ensure that there are openings, the opportunities we speak of. That's why I said it's outside the purview that you have. It's a broad discussion, but it segues into your docket because we're talking about young people and opportunities. The need to expand what you're doing is clearly necessary. And there are those who do their figures and actuaries who say that by the time we get to 2050, 1 in every 3 person who is working on this planet probably will be an African or something.
Yeah.
I may even exaggerate, but we have a growing population. True. The structure that we see with people going abroad is what we're saying. Can it be mirrored here?
Yeah, I hear you. So let me
That's
say
really
this. That's good, City. Let me say this. One, that when somebody finds a job as an office cleaner, as a teacher, as a whatever, and so on, these are not things you're probably going to hear a lot of fanfare about, because this is a quotidian existence, right? So this is the everyday life. There will not be an event where we come and say, aha, because of the work that GOK has done, we've been able to find, opportunities for this. But some of these things you see, such as the hiring of 55,000 teachers, right?
Yep.
So that happened last year. 55,000 teachers who are unemployed now have jobs, right? You've seen now, and you've definitely seen this because it's been subject to some
litigation,
discussion, but also labor action, the hiring of interns and intern doctors and so on and so. So these are actually jobs. And I'm speaking about this because of the jobs that government hires, right? Government hires doctors, government hires teachers and so on. But private sector is the bigger employer. So private sector is incentivized so that it's able to create these opportunities. Let me say something real quick about farmers.
I'd like you to actually, because we are running out of time, and there's something that you had said it was important that you mentioned.
Yeah.
Brain drain.
Yes.
And you know the argument.
So let me say this point and go into the brain sharing, brain movement conversation. Going back to Mkulima Maju, the average age of a Kenyan farmer is 61.
Current Kenyan farmer.
Yes, is 61.
Is City Muga.
So, which means that unless you inject energy into agriculture, for example, you have a crisis because young people have not been taking up, or they're not becoming farmers. For various reasons, farming is up and down. Farming requires a lot of... there are various reasons why young people have not been becoming farmers. You want to incentivize young people to become farmers for food security and so on. So if you have your young people go to the UK, work, learn, see how big farms run, become incentivized to become a big enough farmer. That is exciting for a young person. You end up bringing them back and can answer the question on brain drain. Now you have people who are entering the market to do the work that they were trained in. So there are many advantages to diaspora work. I'll end with this one. The reason many Kenyans go to India for healthcare is because they have a fantastic healthcare system that was built by their diaspora. The healthcare industry in India was built by their diaspora, not just their remittances, but they're going away, learning, working abroad, coming back and setting up such a fantastic thing. So this is the power of labor migration, of structured labor migration. You can go, you can make money, you can learn fantastic things, you can bring them back and build an entire economy. This is the long game.
So it's not draining brain, it's basically sending brain to go and learn more.
Exactly.
And bring back here.
Exactly. So that is how you tie up that conversation, not just with remittances, but people get to go learn things, then bring back and build up an economy in a powerful way. It is a long game. You've got to be able to see the full picture.
Sharing.
It's brain sharing. The brain drain is not quite, it's brain sharing or brain circulation. Yeah.
You're a preacher. It takes long to convert people. It'll take a while. Just don't give up. Just keep
I was just getting to the good part.
It's 9:01. Thank you very much. Keep it here for more conversations. The PS for Diaspora Affairs, Rosalind Kathurenjogu, has been our guest. Yes, she's talked, and you've heard. Engage her more on social media. What's the Diaspora?
At Rosalind Jogu.
At Rosalind Jogu. And
at Diaspora_KE.
There you go.
Fantastic.
News time.
Asante sana.
Good morning, this is the Newswire. I'm Edwin Lisamera. As cases of Mpox continue to be reported in various African countries, people living along the Kenyan border have been advised to be vigilant. According to Pamela Chepkonga, who's the Deputy Commissioner of Luandanyi in Bungoma County, many people are hesitant to get tested for the disease.
Mtu akipatikana na dalili hizi anashauriwa kutembelea kituo cha afya ili apate kuangaliwa zaidi na apate matibabu kwa haraka. Zaidi tunahimiza watu ambao wanapitia njia ya mkato wapite katika njia ambayo inahitajika, especially wale wako kwa port health hapo kwa border point, ili waweze kukaguliwa tupate kuzuia kueneza kwa ugonjwa huu.
This even comes as the World Health Organization, or WHO, called for a coordinated international response to stop the outbreak of the disease and save lives. Tedros Adhanom is WHO's Director General.
The emergency committee met and advised me that, in its view, the situation constitutes a public health emergency of international concern. The detection and rapid spread of a new clade of Mpox in eastern DRC, its detection in neighboring countries, states that had not previously reported Mpox, and the potential for further spread within Africa and beyond is very worrying. It's clear that a coordinated international response is essential to stop these outbreaks and save lives.
Since the beginning of the year, more than 13,700 people have tested positive for the Mpox virus and 450 have died in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Apart from the DRC, the virus, which can cause lesions across the whole body, has been reported here in Kenya, Burundi, Rwanda and the Central African Republic. ODM party leaders drawn from Trans Nzoia, Busia, Vihiga, Kakamega and Bungoma counties have emphasized that the party has not joined the government following the inclusion of its leaders in the cabinet. Speaking at a press conference on Thursday, the leaders led by their party coordinator Justus Kizito maintained that the 4 leaders are patriots who put their political differences aside to save the country in the wake of violent protests.
Kitu tumefanya kama chama cha ODM, tulitaka kustabilize serikali ya Kenya. Raila mwenyewe atajengia kule. Wala walienda ni watu wachache. Hatuna agreement yoyote, lakini inji ni nchi yetu, si nchi ya Ruto. Kwa hiyo sisi kitu tumefanya, tumeenda kustabilize nchi, tusaidie ili nchi zitumbukie mahali pabaya kwa sababu ya misgovernance na kadhalika. Ndio tumepeleka wale professional wetu wachache wakue kule wasaidie Mheshimiwa William Ruto kuongoza serikali. Hakuna mtu msaliti kushinda Kalonzo. Wewe ndio wa kwanza. Nataka najue hivyo. Hakuna vita, lakini wewe unapita katikati unaenda kumuunga Mwai Kibaki na una chama chako na hujatuuliza chochote. Na hiki ni chama cha ODM, chama kikubwa zaidi. Tuna haki ya kuchukua msimamo wetu wenyewe. Na tena freedom of association iko.
The ODM leaders, led by their Trans Nzoia County Secretary General John Simiyu, also defended their party leader Raila Odinga for allowing their senior colleagues to join the cabinet.
Whoever is saying that baba ametusaliti, baba amefanya nini, haelewi. Baba ni mtu ambaye anaona miles and miles away. Wakisema wanafukuza Azimio gani? Wanaelewa chenye wanaongea kuhusu kweli? Azimio ni baba Raila Amolo Odinga. Na bila Raila Amolo Odinga hakuna Azimio.
Naitwa Salome Barasa, mwakilishi wa kidamama national. Mheshimiwa Raila amekuwa kiongozi mwenye ameonyesha upendo na amani. And we can do anything kwa sababu ya amani.
Jina ni Frederick Mudachi. Ningependa kushukuru party leader wa ODM Raila Amolo Odinga kwa zile nafasi ambazo tenga akapewa viongozi wetu kutoka kwa chama.
Police in Kisumu have arrested a suspect believed to have stabbed to death a GSU officer in the Manyata slums. Ronald Lewind was apprehended at his rural home in Siaya County, where he had sought refuge after the incident. Police recovered assorted crude weapons, including Django uniforms. The suspect is currently being held at Gondele police station and will be charged with murder. The officers are looking for his accomplice, who is said to have gone into hiding. Senior security officials led by Acting Inspector General Police Gilbert Masengeli have met in Moyale following the abduction on Monday of 2 South Korean nationals. The 2 were abducted after 2 armed assailants raided the Order Mission Secondary School where they were staying. 8 suspects have since been apprehended, including 6 Ethiopian nationals. During a briefing with regional and county security teams on Thursday, Masengeli emphasized the importance of enhanced cooperation between multi-agency security teams and the public. He urged local residents to provide any information that could assist in resolving the case and securing the safe return of the hostages. That's the News Wire. I'm Edwin Lisamira.
.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Good morning, and I love your show.
Thank you.
Having come from a Kikuyu radio background, I migrated to Spice because of the content.
I was born in a slum, but somehow I got a break in life. So sometimes when you see the sweating coming out because of the passion and whatever it is, behind the noise, there are people, and we share the same umbilical cord.
It shouldn't be like that. I am so disappointed. We used to tell Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga that he's doing politics of conmanship, and even President Uhuru Kenyatta, serikali hii ndio iko na conmanship ya hali ya juu. You cannot promise people that you reduce tax, then you double.
In politics, there is the issue of trust. For you to turn around and then stab the same people who gave you that trust, there is no other level of dishonesty. Na hii mambo utaona dunia tu.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
It's critical that people pay taxes. But then taxation has to have a limit. When you start overtaxing people beyond certain limit, then this is now we call robbery with violence.
We are all struggling, but we don't show. If you're not doing well, shame on you. But you have to say, I'm broke and I'm struggling. We are not okay until everybody is okay.
We are pretending to have political parties. Why don't we just be honest? And we say, these are the Luyas, these are the Kambas, these are the Kikuyus, and we find ourselves in Kenya.
You know, with politics and leadership, no matter what you do, there will always be a complaint. There will always be the assumption that you're either stealing or you're not doing things right. As a leader, don't fear. If you know you're doing the right thing, you've thought about it, you've got an expert advice, do it, then understand later.
This country, we don't need prayers. Prayers is between you and God. Good governance and thinkers who care about the country and not their stomach.
That's what we need.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
So on this undeclared public holiday, the roads are clear. Tell us, why are you not going to work today? What is it? What happened? Did people leave and we were not told?
You saw the movie, the Body Snatchers. Ama wamekuja.
Ama rapture imehappen.
Yeah, rapture imehappen na sisi tumebaki hapo.
Because people are... General Ring Road is clear. The only issue here is Race Course Road.
My system haifanyi kazi?
But it's working.
No, it is working.
Sasa, Landis Road, now you can see, now it's become busy, Landis Road. And Jogoo Road is now clearing up at the City Stadium roundabout where there was an issue earlier. But Uhuru Highway is okay. Only issue now is Langata Road getting into Lusaka Road, Nyayo Stadium roundabout. But Mombasa Road itself up to Nyayo Stadium, it's okay. Uhuru Highway into Bujala, it's okay. Uhuru Highway into town, it's okay. Where are people, bwana? Tuliachwa.
Sisi ndio tumebaki, eh?
Sisi ndio tumebaki.
Bwana we.
Hey, anyway, kama watu wenye mashamba kubwa kubwa wameenda, tuende tukachukua shamba.
Kwanza ni mzuri sana. Tusione.
Let's see how it will be looking like. Maybe people are going to work at 10 today. So maybe 9:30 there'll be a different story.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
It's 11 minutes after 9. This is the final hour of The Situation Room this week, and we are very, 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 very happy that you are still tuned in. Watu wanasema kama watu walioenda mukiachwa achikeni. Ukiachwa achika. But we should have known, bwana, that people are going.
Yes.
People have gone.
Tumebaki bwana na watu wameenda.
Watu wameenda. Allah. But somebody is also saying, alafu mtu aseme people are choosing to move.
But it's very strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, we've never... Have you had a situation where there's no traffic? Today there's no traffic on the road.
The time when you don't have traffic on the road is Mano days. Yeah, on public holidays.
Yes.
Today,
December, karibu na Christmas.
No, but Mboro from Odipode. Have you encountered traffic on your way here?
Eric,
no.
Katikati ya mwezi.
Katikati ya mwezi. But we have had very many katikati ya mwezi. We don't have...
Ama hii ni tofauti na ile ingine.
Kwani hii ni katikati ingine? Allah. Because we've had many katikati ya mwezi and we actually do not encounter these kind of issues. Hey, bwana. Anyway, Norbert Mburu, Culture Research Lead at Odipodev,
yes,
is one of our guests for the final hour of The Situation Room today. The other one is Eric Wainaina. I don't know, maybe he's coming with the dancers at Ingia Pavia Kimba. But City has a couple of things to tell you. Number one, it's the importance of getting comprehensive health checks. City.
Every time you are included in a WhatsApp group where somebody needs help with health bills, it means somebody fell sick and they felt really sick. That's why the bill was really high.
True.
Now, whatever it made that person sick didn't happen on the day that you got that WhatsApp message.
That is true.
That thing was in their system all along. It grew, and then it decided to derail the person. We never really know how sick we are unless we take the time to find out. We don't need to feel sick. We don't need to be sick to know you're sick. You can actually ensure that whatever will cause that illness is known ahead of time. And that's what the Aga Khan University Hospital is saying. Come to any of our very many clinics. Go to the hospital itself. Look for 9,950 Kenya shillings. Come and get yourself tested. Comprehensive. So that you know exactly how you are ticking. You know that ache that you always feel where you see shida sana. I will just go and buy, this thing in the pharmacy and I'll be fine. In fact, I'm not feeling bad.
Because it's a cultural problem.
Isn't it just? Yes.
I'll go find out. Why would I go looking for bad news?
Yeah,
so they're like, acha niombe nitulie.
Now, most of men never go for checkup. Men over 40 don't, and they should. So we're saying
it's important.
Go and get checked. Go and get yourself checked so that you can know. Because when you know, then you'll prevent whatever it is that could cause you, not just this heartache problem, it could even kill you. But go and get checked.
That's true.
Italete mambo mingi.
Sana. Inalete madhara. Yes.
Kwa mwili.
Yes.
Eric Wainaina has arrived. And like we said, he was coming with our entire pose, but the pose will not come in. Eric, good morning.
Good to see you, Eric.
Good to see you too, Eric.
What a wonderful name.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Who gave it to you?
I don't know. Only the best people get that name. Good to see you, Charles.
No, good to see you too, bro.
Yeah.
And this thing of Eric being a good name, why don't you guys call me Eric so that I can also have a good name?
You know what I'm saying? We'll adopt you. Yeah. Good to be here.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Karibu sana, Eric.
Yes.
Singer, songwriter, producer, director, what else? Actor or what?
Husband. Parent.
Very good.
Son.
Very good.
Brother. Lover of animals.
Very good.
Yeah. What else?
I don't know. Why are you late? There's no traffic.
Late? We've been here for 45 minutes, an hour.
Oh.
We've been watching you from the backing ground.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there was traffic. This county of yours.
I know there's no traffic.
Crazy.
Today is a bit better. Now, this weekend, the English Premier League begins, and it's a good thing that today is Friday because then the English Premier League begins. If you'd like to follow what's happening in the English Premier League throughout the season, just listen to SpiceFM over the weekends. We will be commentating and giving you the goings-on in the English Premier League, like when Arsenal beats Man U, when Arsenal beats Man City. All the good news, right? When Arsenal at the end of the season, and Arsenal is actually winning and lifting the trophy, that kind of thing. See, nobody knows. All those ones. Another piece of information: on the 31st of August, if you go to Gallant Mall in Parklands, Nairobi, anytime from 11 a.m. all the way to 4 p.m., you'll get a lot of information if you're looking to study abroad. If you have somebody who's looking to study abroad, the Cradle Study Abroad World Fair is coming up. Top international universities, you can apply for a slot on the spot. You can also get all the information, all the answers given to you. You can get student visa and accommodation assistance all in one place. And this is on the 31st of August at the Gallant Mall in Parklands. Please call them 0799 000 444. Who are you calling? You're calling Cradle, the company. Call them 0799 000 444, or you can register on their website cradle.com. CRYDEL CRAYDEL City. Why don't you give Norbert and Eric the day's proverb?
Yes, proverbs for the last 3 weeks have been from landlocked countries of Africa.
Okay.
We were in Burundi last week, and this week we've been in the Central African Republic. I like this country. They're not waiting for you to say the Republic of Central Africa. They're telling you.
They go straight into it.
They're telling you we are the Central African Republic, and we're in Central Africa, not West Africa. So be knowing.
Just in case you're not sure.
Yeah, just in case you think, because you ask, where's Central African Republic? Right.
Take a guess.
Take a guess.
You know.
When a wealthy leader runs out of words, money does the talking.
When a wealthy leader runs out of words, money does the talking.
Yes.
Start with you, Eric. What's your interpretation of this proverb?
That's unfortunate. I don't know. It's I think that has been the bane of our existence. You know, that money talks and covers people's eyes and covers people's ears, and we're all trying to protect our bases and protect ourselves. I think that has been sort of how leadership has run in Africa for a while. And maybe it's not even just Africa. I mean, and when we look at the Trumps of the world, I think ideas stopped flowing a long time ago. You know. And fear and money is what is being poured in. I mean, I get into arguments with my older relatives every once in a while when they say things like, oh, you know, these young protesters have been paid. You know, they can't believe that young people are going to take to the streets by dint of just wanting to and having this shared emotion and frustration. And so... but that fear that is being, I think is being funded, is an interesting way that bad leaders keep on fanning this anxiety. And when you fan anxiety, you can then position yourself as the law and order candidate, or the candidate who will bring back sanity, and then you can do anything that you want.
Right. What's yours now? But
couldn't say it better. I think for me, it's I always like to ask myself the question of what am I being distracted from? So when the rich man starts to use the money, what is he trying to make me forget? So I'm more concerned on why he ran out of words. That would be my interpretation.
Right.
Yeah.
This proverb imechambuliwa fiti.
Proper, sindio? Proper. Just like we're about to chambua here and look at protest songs since independence. Now, as we were talking about this earlier this morning, we said there are some songs that become like the anthems during protests. They're not necessarily protest songs, but they just become the beat that goes with the people for one reason or the other. We heard Gidigedi Majimaji in 2002, I Am Unbogable. Those guys were not producing a song to talk about politics, right? At the point when they were releasing the song. But it basically just found its way into the campaigns of 2002. Mambo ya Badilika, gospel song, becomes a song during an electoral campaign. This time, Anguka Nayo, absolutely nothing to do with agitation for good governance, for accountability, but becomes the Anguka Nayo becomes a whole new clarion call.
Yeah.
What are protest songs, Eric?
Well, like you've said, and my good friend Bob Kyoko also says it, calling some of these songs protest songs would be a misnomer. They can start as anything. They start as songs of love, they start as bar songs, they start as football chants, they start as songs in church. But people are able to capture a particular sort of emotion or a nuance in the song and turn it into their clarion call. Like you've said, Anguka Nayo is totally about something else, you know. But it's the imagination of the audience, of the masses, that are able to just it fits perfectly well into a sentiment. Very often we talk about artists being socially commissioned, as in you listen to what is being said, what is being, you know, you're in a matatu, you're hearing conversations, you're listening to what's being said on radio, etc. And you turn that into a song, into a play, into a work of art. But sometimes it even goes the other way, that or that it goes full circle, that something in your psyche then sort of manifests this idea that people then latch on to, that might have come initially from them. It comes through the refining that is the artist's mind, and then comes back into the audience, and they further refine it, you know. Bella Ciao, famously, this song from the Netflix Money Heist, I think it's a love song, you know. Suddenly becomes this song of revolution. I was saying to Nonini, Wekamu, which is, we know is not a song of revolution, you know, suddenly will be the song that will be calling people. Wekamu, you know, who knows?
There you go. But then some of those songs are produced specifically for some political awareness.
Absolutely.
Nchi ya Kitu Kidogo by one Eric Wainaina, for example.
Never heard of him.
Right? If you listen to the words of that song, they're basically talking about governance and people and what they feel about what they expect of the value that they derive from their country. That's my interpretation of it. Right? And then you have songs like maybe Jua Kali with Utawala Nikonja Juliani, yes. Nikonja Siwezi. These kind of songs are actually done for political consciousness.
Yes.
Do they gain as much traction when it comes now to agitation and to rallying people?
I think in the spirit of proverbs, I can throw in a quote. There's a quote by a fellow called Roland Barthes. He says, "The meaning of a text is not determined by the author's intention, but rather by the reader's interpretation."
There you go.
All right. And as we studied this work, I think one thing that I've learned, just to echo what Eric has said, is once the piece of art leaves the artist and it goes into the audience, it really is up to the audience on how they are going to use it. But there is, in the case of now what you said with it, so what we see is like a dichotomy of like explicit protest music or political music, politically conscious music, and then there's music for many other reasons. But again, the listener is going to co-opt music based on their situation, based on their scenario, based on their emotions of what they're going through. So in the canon of protest music that we have in this country, based on our research, what we have seen is you have songs that fall in both categories. All right, you have songs that have been very, very intentionally produced for political consciousness, for addressing specific issues in society, and then you have what we decided to christen it the unbogable syndrome. It's all the other songs that get co-opted into the movement. And again, it's not just, the range of it is very broad. It's popular music, it's gospel music. Our relationship with gospel music is very interesting. It's our national anthem and how it's used in different seasons. You know, so it's almost like saying any song can be protest music.
Have you seen, from what you've studied at Odipodev, an instance where because of some music, people start taking action? Because a song has been written and it's intended to raise this political consciousness. People actually react and respond to the words of those songs.
Yes. So the thing and the beauty of studying this work all the way from independence is, one thing I've appreciated in this work is our government has a very good appreciation of art, actually, and its importance and its impact. And so a lot of how you'll see different administrations dealing with music specifically is they want very clear control of it. And I think what we've seen over the eras coming from the beginning up to now has been a bit of a loosening of that rope. But of course, when you're looking at especially the first two eras we had in Jomo and in Moi's time, the control of the music was very explicit. You know, Moi specifically, I think, has been very fascinating to study because he had a very clear understanding of what music can do, both to either bring him trouble or for him now to create the positioning that he sees. So his investment in choirs. I don't think any president has invested in music like how Moi invested in music. And so in terms of, can music make people do something? Absolutely. It's the power of it's the power of a song can actually come trigger people into an action, or it's a feeling that they already had, and the song becomes the soundtrack to that feeling almost. Yeah.
Beyond song, Eric, because you're also a thespian, Gogi was younger, and what he was doing at the time when he was being told, my friend, you look for another country. It was because of using literature and art to bring out some message. Have you seen from your own work, from work of other people actually starting to take different action or changing the perspective of how things are going?
It happens all the time. First of all, just quickly back to what Norbert was saying, I think that the one thing that Goge and Moi agreed on was how important art was. So Goge said, I'm going to build on it, and Moi said, I'm going to destroy it. Right? This is actually, I'm using my wife's words here. She's like, that's the one thing they totally agreed on, the importance. I've seen art change behavior. For a while, I've not taken a lot of care about like what I wear, for instance. You know, I was just like, I'm just gonna wear jeans and a t-shirt and go on stage, right? Then it occurred to me, someone brought me an outfit for Blankets and Wine, and I put it on, and I felt like I was in Wakanda. There's the work of art is to break boundaries and to make people imagine a new way. We watched 24 when 24 first came out. And then I think it's in the first season of 24, we see a black president.
Yeah.
And as a black Kenyan guy, I was like, that's no time.
I'm in America.
That's never gonna happen. Huh? Then Obama. What has Raikuda done with Wakanda? He's put an idea in our heads of an Africa that can be different. I was thinking, Sahara Desert, it's not a desert, it's a farm. We can put solar panels in Sahara Desert and light up the world for millennia. So, what has Raikuda done? What the makers of 24? Kids were singing Inchi ya Kitu Kidogo when their school bus got stopped and a cop asked for a bribe.
Yeah.
You know, it emboldens and expands the realm of possibility. And if you can achieve that, and also surround yourself with excellence. Once again, if you live in, if you're a long distance runner, if you're a musician like myself, and I'll be the best musician in the world, who do I have to beat? I've got to be better than, name them, maybe Beyonce, maybe Ed Sheeran, right? If I want to be the best computer programmer, I've got to be better than Bill Gates. But if I want to be the best long distance runner, and I come from Kerio Valley, I've got to beat my neighbor. So part of the work that we're doing is also to surround ourselves with excellence, and become better by virtue of that. If Eric Latif and Norbert and Charles are inspiring me to be better every single day, and I'm in contact with them every single day, even the stuff that I'm putting out to my audiences, and my audiences are going to see a better product from me. And they won't only stop and sing to the cop, Nchi Kitu Kidogo, they might come out and do what Gen Z has been doing, and saying the fear is gone.
They may step out of the bus and actually sing to the cop out there and tell them, Nchi ya Kitu Kidogo, what you're holding, right? Nchi ya watu wadogo. Ukitaka chai, enda Ketepa.
Some kids in Western the other day, I think the electricity ported in their school. They striked and walked all the way to the local Kenya Power office and demanded they be given a transformer.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I was like, that's a spirit right there. Yeah.
It's the effect of it. And you have a sense that because of this art, because of all this that, you know, brings in the consciousness to Jiangalia here and, you know, all these songs. Even Zakayo Shuka by Pastor Nganga.
Did he write it sort of in the context that it is right now, or was it?
No, he was singing just the other day. He was singing his song about, you know.
Yes.
Kwa nini uko juu ya muti.
But before we go on the break, just think of the genres of music that we have. You are thinking of, say, rap music. Rap music was protest music. If you look at what I hear is called gangster, just look at these genres. What they represent is change that hadn't been there. People saying, excuse me, this is how we are going to express ourselves. This is what we are going to do with our music. And I'm glad you brought in the issue of arts. Even dance forms do that. This is what was traditional, this is what was formal, but this is what we are going to do to express ourselves. And when you think of even songs that say, woi, woi,
tunataka Kenyatta achiliwe.
Now that, you see, we've had them for as long as you can actually remember. And if you go back into even communities, you will find that there are many songs that were a rallying call for even certain events. The ones that come to my mind are happy moments, are something which an uncle of mine could never get. There is a Rurashio and there is a Gurario. Amy is called a Gurashio. So there are songs that people sing. See, even I know that particular chant. It means it's something that people use, and there's a message that is clear in it, and it's understood. And some of these songs, one could say they're purpose, but they're probably on purpose. Maybe time makes them purposeful. It starts as just something that someone is saying, and people realize, but it makes sense under these circumstances. Yes.
Like the other day, we played a song.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
From Tenzi Zarahoni. And
yes.
People are commenting and saying, I associate these songs with funerals.
Yes.
It's actually a hymn that's sung in church, even when there's no funeral service.
And it's a beautiful song. Yes.
What song was that?
What was it, City?
Is it when he say Muyangu?
Yeah, Bwana Usai Muyangu.
Okay.
No, but I think also what you said is one of the things that was very fascinating for us. It's the songs people sing on the ground when people actually gather as a crowd versus what you listen privately.
Right.
You know, we have almost this like collective IP that we've created, and we've borrowed from all these different places. So it's how there's no record of, you know, I mean, the original song was sung Bado Mapambano, but it was a gospel song, all right? But the version that we use in protests, there's no recorded version of it. So, but there's a point at which your child is going to know that song.
Yeah.
And so anywhere you find Kenyans gathered and they're saying we're going to have protests, it's like, this is a song, you know? So there's like a album we've curated together where I know it's going to be Bado Mapambano, it's going to be Yote Yawezekana. We're going to throw in a few haki yetus here and there. And that's our collective sound of what protests.
Of a protest.
Yes.
Is there an equivalent sound of patriotism?
Of course.
That is patriotism.
Of praise, of not pushing back, but of praise, of acknowledgement, of to shangilia Kenya, you know, like.
But that's the thing, as in like, sorry, Norbert. Che Guevara told us very clearly, at the risk of sounding insane, he says, I'm badly quoting, the revolutionary is led by feelings of love.
Right.
You know? So even if it's kushangilia Kenya, Bado Mapambano is that, you know? It's that we want a better thing. We appreciate what we have. But protesting, pointing out what is wrong with a country does not mean that we are not shangiliaing that country.
Or that you don't love the country.
Or that we don't love
something.
It's because you love the country.
It's because we love. Others would have just said, "Ni sawa basi iendelee tu."
All right. 22 minutes to 10. Eric Wainaina is our guest here alongside Norbert Moro, who's a culture research lead at Odipodev. We are talking about protest songs since independence. You have a number of them. You have a new one that you are releasing.
That's correct.
We said you're releasing that song today.
It's happened.
Sure. Very good.
Thank you very much.
Hiya. Keep it here. We'll be back shortly.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start.
Hey, baba boy. Gas imeisha, shopping imeisha, na ujue tokens bado zinalia.
Msupa, nipe mbao na 20 minutes.
Mbao, like 20 bob.
Hey.
20 minutes, kwani kuna nini? Na ujue mimi nataka kupika haki.
Jaber, kwani ujui daka mamilini every 20 minutes, halafu wanapea na 10 million every 20 minutes, na hadi kuna 3 millionaires every hour.
Daka mamili virahisi. Uko na nafasi 3 ya kuwa millionaire kila hour. Usipitwe. Cheza Daka. Ushike mita yako sasa. Chagua nambari zako 4 za bahati and win up to 10 million every 20 minutes. Nenda kwenye paybill 440440. Account Spice amount. Cheza na shilingi 20 hadi shilingi 2,000 na ushinde mamilioni. Daka mita kuwa bingwa.
Attention Nairobi, introducing Eden Cabs taxi service. Enjoy comfort, safety and efficiency in the city. Join us on the 17th of August at the TRM Mall from 8 a.m. and stand to win fabulous gifts. Download Eden Cabs app from Google Play or App Store and enjoy a 30% discount on your first 5 rides. Terms and conditions apply. Your Eden adventure awaits.
When you're impeached, you're impeached. When you're sentenced, you're sentenced.
Madam Chief Justice.
Until the sentence is set aside.
Ukibeba vitu kwa roho utakufa. If you carry things in your heart, you will die.
The reason for which you went to school and then gathered experience, that reason must be paid for.
Oh, right.
Okay.
This level.
Shape up or ship out.
Levels don't change.
No. It's about shipping up. You know my business partner here.
Shipping out.
Are we talking about the ship in the bathtub? Or
the ship man.
Emmanuel Talabu used to tell us a story of they were in school and they've been told to write composition about a ship. His classmate raises a hand. Teacher, are you talking about the ship or ship goat?
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
The weather with SpiceFM.
17 degrees and mostly cloudy in Nairobi. Mombasa is warming up. Sunny at 27, sunny in Malindi at 28. Kakamega partly sunny at 23. Eldoret is partly sunny at 17. Nakuru is sunny at 18. Nyeri, cloudy at 16. It's going to rise to 21 later on today. Kinshasa, cloudy at 23. Kampala, sunny at 23 as well. Lagos, cloudy at 25. Cloudy in Addis Ababa at 16. Mogadishu is sunny at 28. Johannesburg is warming up. It's now 12 at this time, sunny, but it's going to rise to 22. And then later it will drop back to 19 in Paris and partly sunny. Beijing, it's still raining at 28. London, it's partly sunny at 16. Partly sunny and... sunny in Dar es Salaam at 27, and New York is clear skies at 24.
Welcome to SpiceFM, the best exclusive radio station bringing you the best mix of the best music ever.
So the rupture happened, and we know this, that people are not going to work, maybe because people left, and we were just the only ones who were left here. Thika Superhighway, can you believe it? It's clear. Kiambu Road, it's only busy at the police station getting into that interchange, and then it's clear. Jogoo Road is clear. Uhuru Highway is clear. Mombasa Road is clear. Langata Road is clear. Aerodrome Road is clear. Ngong Road is clear. Valley Road is clear. Westlands into town is clear. Ngara, Sai, Asbui is clear. People have gone, city. We are the only ones who are here. Tumebaki.
But tulisema tutaangalia zile shamba kubwa. Kama wenyewe pia wameenda.
So
we can go and occupy.
Nachukua shamba.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
17 minutes to 10. Soon, Eric Wainaina is going to do that performance of his latest song, and he'll tell us more about it shortly. We are discussing protest songs in this country since independence. You said, Siti, that it's not just Kenya. I mean, this is a global issue. There are many.
Yes, it is. Because forget even the song itself. That's the genre. That's what I was saying. The very nature and if you look at the genesis of it, this is how people began expressing themselves and saying, look, we are musicians, yes, but so that you get us and you understand that this is how we're going to go about this business. Okay? But then the people who actually wrote songs. That's why I mentioned Bob Marley. Get up stand up for your right. Now, if I know the song and I'm not really a reggae person, then I'm doing very well. But other people wrote songs. There's a guy called Bob. These are my Bobs. You are going to come out to Eric. There's a guy called Bob Dylan. Okay. It's like, but I also think that there are certain seasons in our lives when these songs become more potent. Somebody may have sung it as just a song, but given the time, then it acquires the meaning. And suddenly that song, and I think Norbert mentioned it. So the song now becomes something that, as we say, it wasn't meant to be, but if we take the view that that is how the recipients of the song have decided now to consume it and to utilize it, to internalize it, then it acquires new and a much broader meaning.
Start associating it with the feeling that you have at that point.
Yes.
And how you're consuming the song at that point.
Yes.
And you see, even like songs, I'm fascinated the most by our national anthem because same exact song, but the kind of number of scenarios it can be used at. You know, it's going to be used at the national celebration. We're going to sing it at our school assemblies. But then in 2024, you're going to have it being sung here as well as you're being clobbered by a cop. Same song. All right. And it's that. It's what how many things can I do with this piece of art? You know, and what does it do for me? And somebody even added a new layer to this for me the other day. It's how we also use music for comfort in seasons like this.
Yes.
All right. When things are getting wild, music also becomes a tool you use to calm yourself down. And we've seen that a lot. A lot of our funeral music has that connotation. And it's very interesting on funeral music, by the way. I learned this as well. This has been a big season of learning for me with the history. So 70s, 80s, I believe, it was indicated to me that actually a lot of the songs that would be categorized as protest music at the time could actually only be played at funerals because it was the only public gathering that was allowed at the time. So artists would come and that's where they'd actually play the music from. And you see now how that context is used to also, again, to bring in this feeling of what are we all feeling collectively and what can this music channel for us right now.
You know, it's very interesting you should say that because the one thing that you can't say people don't have a love for is music. And the diversity is expressed in just, as I said, just the diversity of what we refer to as music and what it is it means and how it is it resonates with us.
Yeah.
But then again also, a lot of it is influenced by the sort of music that you're brought up with.
Absolutely.
Many people are brought up with what we refer to as church music. That's where now they grow their teeth. That's where they get the hang of. And then they sort of like diversify. Because if you look at hymns, those who are accustomed to hymns, or even choruses, they all have a message. Aya twende zote kwa nyumba ya baba.
Hallelujah.
Yes, they all have a message. And when you think about it, the reason why they become popular, people resonate with it quickly. And then there's a beat, the chant makes the beat interesting. And then, now, the love that you mentioned, then the love grows. You get to love that song. So now, as your interest in music grows, you then listen to what you may call contemporary artists and suddenly find that you'll have an affinity towards a certain type of music more than others. I remember there is a lady called Joanna Matrading. Okay? I came across her when I was a university student. the lyrics, my friend, and just the way in which she put into music, my friend, you suddenly realize, but this is, and it was completely different from anything else that you're hearing and listening to at a particular time.
Yeah.
Then you come across jazz. At the time, it was something called Bob James. Okay, you suddenly feel, my goodness, you mean that this sort of music, it suddenly lightens up things that you didn't even know, faculties you didn't know could appreciate music. Seriously. And you're thinking, then you play it with, you compare it with Fundi Konde, musicians whom we used to hear. And then as you get along, then Rekonena comes along. Before he comes along, he has a group of friends with whom they come along, and they're saying, they're thinking.
They come alive.
They come alive, yes. And you're thinking, my goodness, this space has really, really, really broadened. Yes.
You know, I really wonder what the future generation, what kind of music they're gonna make. First of all, I must acknowledge something here. The artist who you were referring to, Joan Armour Trading.
Yes.
I love the way you said her name. It's like people from the lake are going to claim people, even if they're not yours. You called her Joan Armour Rading.
Yes.
I was like, kila mtu ni mjaka. Everyone is. I must hand it to you. Yeah, you have got her. Yeah, have her. Thank you. Niwenu. The future generations. It's interesting. Like I grew up listening to. I'm a child of Sundowner. Right? So Lionel Richie, ABBA, the Jacksons,
Cool and the Gang.
The Cool and the Gang, you know, and you can hear those references in my music. I really, really wish. I mean, we had the Kamarus in the house, we had the Diomisianis, but I don't know. It's like we didn't listen to it as much, and I feel I need to really immerse myself in that. Like, there's listening to some Fundi Konde, because I'm writing a musical with a friend of mine that is set on the day that Tomboya gets killed at a fictitious club called the Moonlight, which is it's sort of built on the Starlight Club that we might remember from just immediately after independence. And Fundi Konde's material was really, really harmonically diverse and quite, you know, he really knew what he was doing, you know. When you listen to some of the funk music that was coming out in the 70s and 80s from Kenya, there's a collection called Kenya's Funky Hits from the 70s, and there was an actual choking of where we were going, you know. Not only did Jomo Kenyatta and Moi destroy the freedom of thinking by doing what they were doing, they actually curtailed a development of a Kenyan sound.
There was actually a ban on importation of musical instruments in the late 80s. I read that the other day.
And that thing
1988.
it has pervaded every sector of people's thinking. No, but I go to schools where there's a piano in the dining hall and it's locked. Like, why would you do that?
Beaten for trying to turn it.
Because the children will go, they'll bang and they'll destroy.
They'll be making
Just
noise
tell
to
people,
everyone.
you know, I think I don't know whether it's too much punishment that we've gone through, but we really there's a big self-hating thing that we have, you know, and we impose it on our children, and they're like, these children are bad, they're going to do something wrong. Watavunja hii piano, but all you have to do is tell the kids, you know what, guys, the piano is open, right? Don't go beat it, but come and play.
What you said is profound, because even when it comes to the love of our own music, you see that hatred.
Yeah.
As we're speaking, as someone who grew up at the coast, there's Mzengala, you think of Tausi, Ndege Wangu, you think of gem mushrooms. There are so many Kenyans talented who produce beautifully delightful
stuff.
music, but our preference.
Beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
Is it a question of preference, or do you think it's also a level of what are we exposed to?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of exposure.
Yeah.
And that is somebody's preference.
I like that.
Right?
It's somebody's preference, because another thing I was pointed out was if you think about, again, Moi's time, very interesting to study, again, because it was so long. Moi did not only mute, he replaced. So it was not, you're not just going to listen to nothing. I'm going to bring in something else. So a lot of the explosion of Congolese music happened during that period, late 70s, 80s. So he said, if you listen to Swahili or you listen to songs in your vernacular that you understand, they can actually charge you into doing something.
Yeah.
But let me bring music.
Let me bring in a different language that you actually don't know. You're just hearing the beats.
You just know the beats. It sounds nice. To keep you peaceful. And in that, you see how, again, I'm so fascinated by actually how authority understands the power of it.
But do you remember that during times of oppression is when you probably get the best music that a country has? If you look at countries where there's beautiful music, look at South Africa. Look at the black, do we call them black Americans now?
African Americans.
African Americans, yes, that's what I was looking for. The Africans were in America. These, look at the proliferation of music among those relatives of ours. And a lot of it was born out of suffering. Somehow, suffering touches your soul. And that's the factory for music. That's where it comes from. Because every time I listen to Eric's song, that song...
Hopefully songs.
No, there's one particular song which does a thing for me.
Which one?
Hii Kenya inchi kidogo hii. You know what I mean?
Taken to the tribe as well.
Make the point, and then Eric will tell us about the song and go and perform it. Right? No, he is finished.
Yeah, finished. I was just coughing. That cough marked.
He was basically saying every time he hears that song, it does something.
It does something. Yes.
I was saying that. So, for example, at one point I had started to do my masters at KU, and one of the complaints of the music department was in the undergrad, they were having to lower the level of instruction because a lot of kids who were coming to KU for their undergrad had not come across the instruments that they were being taught on. You know, so if you come from a non-urban school and you're coming to KU and they want to teach you piano it's the first time you're seeing that thing. It's the first time you're seeing a piano. So a couple of different solutions, right? Either we call the Japanese government and Yamaha and we say, let a piano car 10,000 tunalipia pole pole, right? And we flood the schools with them. That's one possible thing. But we can also be saying, you know what? There must be an Orutu in every school. There must be a Nyatiti in every school. Because even how, if you play Orutu, if you play Nyatiti, it changes, it informs your melodies. You'd write something completely different, right? And so, while we're trying to figure out what we're doing, you know, whether we're going to import those things from Japan, let's make sure that
we have our own.
That we have our own, and that there really is no excuse that you are listening to music, you are drawing, you're doing all this stuff. But you know, it's the powers that be understand the power of the arts.
Music.
Now, I know you want me to introduce the song, but I have to tell you one last story. We were up in Kakuma, the refugee camp. Kakuma is the home to